A couple hours after that, the indictment was suspended or stayed. That was taking us into the 4th of July weekend. And here we sat. We just had to hang around like a wet sock on a shower rod. But here we are. Go ahead.
You like the fact that our Louisiana Supreme Court was working on a holiday? Because they issued 2 opinions about this on a holiday weekend.
On about the time the sun came up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was early.
I respect that kind of work ethic.
Early on a holiday. They're like, let's get this over with. I've got a 3-day weekend. You've got a 3-day weekend.
In 20 years of practicing law in the state of Louisiana, I'd have never seen a Supreme Court, Louisiana Supreme Court, do something on the holiday.
Holiday weekend is going to play into the conversation as well. Let's start off with top stories and trending. The State Library has announced the date for the 22nd Annual Louisiana Book Festival. It will be held from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. in downtown Baton Rouge at the State Library of Louisiana Capitol Park Museum. You know the area out in front of the state capitol. This year, roughly, by the way, it's going to be October 31st, is the big announcement there. This year, roughly 150 writers will be featured, along with over 100 vendors that will be on have their displays out. As we were just saying, Friday morning, the Louisiana Supreme Court granted Attorney General Liz Murrill's motion for a stay of her indictment in Orleans Parish. The court noted that, quote, the Attorney General makes a compelling argument concerning the discerning defects in the grand jury proceedings and in the trial court's handling of those proceedings. BRPD is building a training simulator to help officers prepare for high-stress situations up in Zachary's, where they're building it. The building, which will be paid for with mostly ARPA funds, will feature walls that can be structured to create hundreds of different configurations, allowing for various training situations, including active shooters, domestic violence calls, and hostage cases. Community members hosted a march down Winbird Avenue Friday, calling for a stop to gun violence in the city. Saturday around 1:17 a.m., one person was shot and killed off Calumet Street. Then around 5:22, people were injured in a shooting on Fairchild Street. Early Sunday evening, someone was taken to the hospital after being shot on I-110 near Harding, so I don't think the march worked. The funeral for legendary former Southern baseball coach Roger Cador will be held on campus today. Cador passed away at the age of 74 last week after fighting brain cancer. He led the Jaguars for 33 years, won 2 HBCU national championships, 14 SWAC championships. Coach Cador was just an absolute ambassador for the game, a legend of Baton Rouge, and will be sorely missed.
Well, there was a mass shooting in Centerville Saturday morning. 2 people were killed and 7 others were injured. This is terrible.
Oh, I know. Saw that.
Do we know if it, well, I would almost guess, you don't want to speculate about stuff like that, but maybe drinking, 4th of July festivities, maybe a fight went down. I mean, I don't want to speculate, but it's tragic. It's over the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah. Well, and it happened in the overnight hours as well. So Wilkinson County Coroner Ronnie Fisher said 19-year-old DeKavion Andrews and 22-year-old Donovan Jackson were killed in the shooting. According to the sheriff's office, it occurred near the Orchard Cafe on Highway 24 around 12:55 a.m. when deputies received a call from the Fields Health System reporting multiple gunshot victims just arriving at the emergency room. There's not a whole lot of details yet, but 12:55 in the morning. Right. I mean, that's... Yeah, I don't think it's 4th of July related, but definitely festivities were being had.
Right. Well, photos are starting to leak from Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding on Friday, though many are asking if they're real or are the photos AI. I'm going to tell you that from what I read online, Taylor had this wedding locked down. People had to put their phones up, had to sign NDAs. No, she's going to release the photos on her own time. So all the ones that are out there are AI. I think. I mean,
you think you can hold a wedding in Madison Square Garden and have that 100% locked down?
I think so. Because of the type of security she had, she did have her own film crew, and we know that she has this this contract with Disney Plus. So when she comes out with a documentary, it will be on our own terms. But
for her sake, and I know not to be a negative Nancy.
Yeah.
I hope this works out. That's a
Right.
lot.
That's
like,
a lot of money.
Taylor Swift, no way in the world she'll have some kind of mental health breakdown at some point and write a song about him and they'll break up and maybe she'll get another album or something. Hope it works out. Hope this works out. And I'm sure that Adam Sandler officiating the wedding, that in no way takes away from the seriousness of the ceremony.
That's what I was thinking. She went to this level of hysteria. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Like,
isn't that one of her songs?
Yeah, no, that's Def Leppard. But this level of
missed it by 40 years. It's all right.
Right. But this level of a wedding, and then you have Adam Sandler officiated. I thought the same thing, Franz. I'm like, wait a minute. I like Adam Sandler though, but still. Anyway,
taking their cell phones.
Yeah, right when you walk into the venue.
Right.
And then you have the cocktail hour before the whole wedding. That's different.
That's actually a in fairness to Taylor Swift, it's a northern thing to where they'll do cocktails, wedding ceremony, then sit down, dinner, then reception.
I've only done I've only DJ'd a handful of the northern style weddings where you have the full sit down dinner.
But they'll do cocktails before.
Yeah.
See, I've only ever attended weddings where you do cocktail after.
This was a wedding. These were all weddings that the wedding was held at church and then the reception was somewhere else. So the cocktail hour was not at the same place as the reception. So, but I got to tell you, it is a harder gig as a DJ once everybody's been sitting down.
You get them up.
Yup.
To get them up.
That's why you get paid the big bucks, babe.
Right. Well, we have a shark alligator roll story of the shark variety today. A swimmer was bitten by a shark at Jones Beach in Long Island over the weekend. It was a minor bite to the foot. He actually walked to the lifeguard stand seeking assistance. Holy smokes.
That's the way to go, though. I mean, if you're going to get bitten by a shark, definitely get like a little nub right there to where you could tell everybody you were bitten by a shark for the rest of it. But like he literally just walk it off.
Yeah. Hey, walk it off. Sir. I just got bitten.
He got the best of both worlds.
So you want an appendage missing? Not just a bite mark?
But he's not missing an appendage. He walked up to the lifeguard stand. I mean, a lot of blood.
Golly.
Whole lot of blood.
That trail. Can you imagine? Yeah. Jeez.
Now, follow up, they couldn't find the shark afterwards.
Oh.
They shut down the beach for 3 hours. Couldn't find the shark.
Good night. Yeah. Shark got his plentiful, and he's like, I'm out.
I guess. I mean, if the first thing you tasted was foot, you'd probably go looking somewhere else for food too.
Right.
We're at 613 to Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Need a quick second to remind you about Guarantee Health Solutions. GuaranteeHealth.com is the website. GuaranteeHealth.com. And an idea for anybody who owns or runs a medical office of any kind. Whether you're talking about an urgent care, whether you're talking about a dentist's office, some kind of specialty therapy office. If you run a medical office, you need to give GuaranteeHealth.com a look. This is an idea that was born out of, well, really a personal tragic situation for Rachel Fricke, the woman who came up with the whole thing. Going through a tragedy with a family member, come to learn that a lot of the medical world, specifically when it comes to the serious care, was just very sterile, very transactional. There was no heart. There was no bedside manner. There had to be a better way. And through this, she's come up with more of a concierge-style service that really, really emphasizes customer service, like from the hospitality industry. And then from there, you build relationships with patients. And then from there, you can build more business. If you want to learn more about her 4-pillar system, visit GuaranteeHealth.com.
I mean, I'm not. I love the institution, the sacrament, depending on how you look at it, of marriage. I love it. I'm a big fan. I haven't had success at it, but like, part of me is just like, like, what do you think Madison Square Garden goes for?
To lock it down to that level, too.
How many people did she have there?
1,000 people. She sent out 1,000 invitations. They online is saying anywhere from 500 to 999 people.
Who the fuck is not going?
I know.
Like, who gets that invite and like,
Well, what's the 4th of July weekend? Maybe, I mean, I don't know.
what are you doing on the 4th of July that's more important than Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce?
I will
married?
tell you, if you gave me an invite, I can tell you this with 100% certainty. Gave me an invite to Taylor Swift's wedding with Adam Sandler officiating, I'd be like, I'm good. I'm good.
Really? Oh,
I'm good.
But people,
Right.
I don't think people knew that Adam was officiating. Maybe people did.
If I want to go, listen, I'm just going to say this is Facebook Live. If I want to go to the Baton Rouge and watch two monkeys throwing shit at each other, I'll go to the Baton Rouge Zoo and watch two monkeys throwing shit at each other. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I'd go to the wedding, okay?
Look, Franz, you have a point, though.
I would totally try to leverage it to get a hot date to the wedding.
Well, yes, which you probably could.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost a given. Here's the thing, though, is like there are people that would reschedule their own wedding to go to that wedding. What is going to be more talked about for the rest of the year?
Hope it lasts.
Dude, the fact that they've made it this far, the fact that they've made it to marriage is with both of their careers is pretty damn remarkable.
It is July 6th. It is July 6th, 2026. It is July 6th, 2026. I give it less than 2 years.
Okay. Based on what?
Just my gut.
Okay.
So if they don't last, Travis Kelce will be married. She will.
They could go a different direction. They could have a whole bunch of wonderful kids. Can you imagine her being a mom and having kids?
I think she would be a wonderful.
I think she is genuinely not a bad person. I think she could be very much a good person.
Her fan base hyped her up to be this. That's why I couldn't stand her in the beginning. I could not stand. Now I appreciate her.
Well, I mean, when she first got famous, she was a child.
16? Yeah, 16, I think.
Was she a Disney?
No.
Yeah.
.617 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Yesterday marked the 2-month countdown from LSU's season opener against Clemson. That will be on September 5th. This is the same matchup as the first game of last year's campaign, though both teams are a lot retooled, a lot of new faces. LSU, of course, now led by head coach Lane Kiffin. Clemson brings back former coordinator Chad Morris to run their offense. The Advocate's John Blau, I hope I pronounced that last name right, B-L-A-U. I've seen it written. I haven't heard it pronounced, but he covers Clemson, or he has covered Clemson for the last 6 years. Says two high-powered offenses are going to go head-to-head on September 5th, cut 19.
And so you're going to have two offenses that, like to get up and down the field, take some shots, score some points. The real question is going to be whether either of these teams could run the football. I mean, I know LSU and Clemson both struggle to run the football, and that's a key for both of these offenses.
Clemson finished 7-6 last season, 4-4 record in the ACC after starting the year, ranked 4th in the country. They added 11 new transfers and a 25th ranked high school class this offseason. Blau says Clemson has talent, but doesn't know if they're going to be able to run with LSU. Cut 20.
Patched up the secondary, which was their biggest issue last year. They got a bunch of transfers in there. They do have some defensive linemen. I mean, Will Help is a great pass rusher, a guy that got in the portal last year. Again, they got some receivers, Wesco, TJ Moore. They've got some weapons, so it's not impossible, but at the same time, it's LSU at home.
Yeah, exactly. September 5th is going to be the longest 2 months ever. Well, you can count off tonight, though, because you got your plan set. USA taking on Belgium, 7 p.m. tonight will be the start of that game. USA is favored in this game, and especially since over the weekend they got Valerian Balogun back. His suspension was suspended. He got a red card in the last game, which is kind of like getting targeting in football, where you have to sit out the first half of the next game, except in soccer, you got to sit out the whole next game. Well, that got suspended for a year, so he'll be back at it tonight. U.S. and Belgium, 7 p.m.
I'm Liz Clayton, and this is the Fox Business Report. Crude oil prices are moderating after OPEC Plus agreed to raise output, bring crude at $71 a barrel, West Texas Intermediate at 68. SpaceX officially joins the NASDAQ 100 tomorrow. That means mutual and exchange traded funds that track the index.
I know.
The time I have with my dog while the dog is just butterballing and sitting on my stomach and just laying there, like doesn't want anything. The dog wants to be petted, but honestly, she wants nothing more than to just be right. Like needy is all, like such a superior animal to a cat. Can't even compare the two.
I know.
Byron writes, "You think they did a money dance?
She said no gifts, Byron.
You can't go to a wedding and not bring a gift. Not that she needs it. I mean, just
And she was adamant. She's like, "Do not bring gifts." But you know, people showed up and brought gifts.
they are a very sweet couple. They're adorable.
I don't know if I'm a fan of him. He's a rogue.
But she tends to be with hoes. John Mayer.
True.
Was she ever with JT?
No, she never did.
That was Brittany.
That was Brittany. Yeah, she did date John Mayer, and she dated what's his last name? Joe Alwyn.
I'm a little surprised she never did anything with Ed Sheeran. I know they're like very close.
They're best friends.
Yeah.
You bring up a good point, but no, that she never crossed the line.
If they would have ended up together, I would have been like, okay. Brian doesn't care. Brian.
I'm actually regretting putting that story in trending. The way people talk about celebrities like they have a fucking clue is just baffling to me.
No, I mean, her celebrity status doesn't mean that she is, yeah.
She was with this dude for 7 years. Joe Alwyn. What's his name?
If I ever get married again, we're doing a money dance. Brian will be DJing.
No,
Brian probably would just want to attend.
in your wedding. He wouldn't be there.
Brian may make the cut, may make a groomsman cut. I mean, that could happen. Probably a small wedding. Small.
All right, Monday coming back off a holiday weekend. I can't expect there's a whole lot of traffic out there. And given a look at the map, no, there's actually not. We're doing okay. I-12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish. We're not anywhere near our normal volume right now, which is a good thing. Smooth sailing coming in from Denham. Also smooth sailing coming in from Ascension Parish, the Prairieville exits and beyond. We're looking good there. Now, 10 eastbound coming back from West Baton Rouge is golden. I-10 looking good in both directions running through the city. On your surface streets, there is only one accident to look out for right now, and it is Avenue B at Elmer Avenue. That's not going to affect anybody's commute, but it is on the board, so I'll tell you about it. That's your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. .623 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Let me give you the rundown before we get started here. Legally served with attorney Franz Borghardt coming your way in about 90 seconds. We'll have Moral Dilemma Monday. Are we getting too much advice from AI and social media when it comes to our actual health, and is it detrimental to our health? Moral Dilemma Monday at 6:50. We got Medical Monday with Our Lady of the Lake at 7:15. Patrick Robinson from LABI stops by at 7:35. We're talking about the upcoming Workers' Comp Conference. Alice Glenn from NOLA and Company, New Orleans and Company, joins us at 8:05, recapping Essence Fest and previewing the rest of the summer. Moon Griffon, talk about everything under the sun with Moon every Monday at 8:15, and then we got the BREC Room after that. Before we get you to Legally Served with attorney Franz Borghardt, got to remind you about the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. FlyBTR.com is the website, FlyBTR.com. Getting a look at the departures for this morning. So far, that early flight out to Houston has already arrived in Houston. DFW is on its way right now, as is the flight to Atlanta. This morning's flight to Charlotte has been canceled. I don't know why. We'll find out, see if I can't find out more on that front. But then after that, everything is scheduled as per normal, up to and including the next flight out is 7 a.m., heading to Reagan National, Washington, D.C. If you've got business in our nation's capital, you can get it done same day. Fly out 7 in the morning, come home late in the evening, and have it, land in your own backyard when you fly BTR.com. Time for Legally Served.
Legally served with attorney Franz Borghardt.
Don't tell me what I know and don't know I know the law.
Morning, Franz.
Blessings on this house.
How are you, sir?
Oh, I had quite the holiday weekend.
Did you now?
Oh, I've been sitting with a box of popcorn watching all the stuff we're about to talk about fall out, which is surprising.
Mhm.
Ain't that something?
What?
Louisiana Supreme Court working on a holiday, state
Yeah.
holiday. Ain't that
Well,
something?
they worked a little bit on a holiday. I mean, they got their ruling out before 7 a.m.
They issued a second opinion, I think, on the 4th of July.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
See, I didn't even follow up on that.
So I know
one.
you're going to set it up.
Yeah.
One opinion is, hey, we're going to stop, pause, stay everything.
Oh, and then the second one they
was,
threw it. Yeah.
hey, we shouldn't have to clarify this, but y'all don't arrest her. Everything stayed.
Right.
They didn't recall. Media is reporting recalling the arrest warrant. No. They stayed everything. They didn't recall it. They stayed it. I'll let you set it up.
Okay, so difference between a stay and recall we'll get to in a minute, but
Yeah.
let's start off with on Thursday, a grand jury indicted Liz Murrill, saying she had sent
The Attorney General.
Yes, our state's attorney general. They indicted her saying she was sending threatening letters to members of the Orleans Parish court system. And there was actually a $400,000 bond, I believe, what was out there.
We should talk about how that bond happens.
Well, we're going
because
to
there may not be anything nefarious about the size of the bond because of how you get to that,
Mhm.
and it, but we'll get to that.
And that was Thursday, and the very next morning, the Supreme Court said, no, we're going to stay this. Now that takes us around to what's the difference between a stay and calling it off.
All right, so a stay order is, hey y'all, don't do anything until you do X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
Don't do anything until we're going to remand it, send it back to the court to do an evidentiary inquiry on whatever issue that we're saying, but do not do anything. Don't arrest her. Don't make her make bond. Everything is halted until you do the thing we tell you to do.
Mhm.
Okay. They also kind of telegraphed in their opinion. I don't know if you read it. They telegraphed, hey, there may be issues with this entire thing.
Oh, when you say don't know if I read it, are you talking about that 5-page? This one?
Yeah, the one
That
you
one?
have printed out. Look at
Yeah.
you. Check out the big brain on Brian.
So yes, I read this, and it does
The
kind
dissent's kind of nice too.
but it does kind of pick apart
Right.
the
That
original
is,
charges.
to me, and let me say this. I'll say it now. I'll say it multiple times during this segment. I have not always been a fan of the Attorney General of the state of Louisiana.
Mhm.
However, I think this is all BS.
I tend to
I
agree
would
with that.
absolutely defend her on this. I think that this is entirely a waste of resources. However, what I'm troubled by on this is there's some procedural things that are happening that never happen. For example, getting immediately to the Supreme Court
Mhm.
and being able to have them chime in. The Supreme Court, the majority of the Supreme Court, with a case that hasn't gotten to the merits yet, hasn't gotten before a jury, hasn't gotten before a judge, depending on which way she wants to go, starting to make comments about guilt and innocence, right? That is to some degree a little troubling, and it begs the question. This is the question that everybody's talking about is, are we all the same, or do some people get a different shake of justice than others?
So you have a problem with the Supreme Court, specifically because it was a holiday?
No, I have a problem with the Supreme Court going as far as they went because I've never seen this happen.
Okay.
I've seen BS. I've seen BS indictments.
Mhm.
I've seen BS arrest warrants, and not once
We
have my clients gotten that opportunity to go.
We have 30 seconds until break.
Sure.
So I want to toss this question out, and then
Sure.
we'll come back with it afterwards, okay?
Sure.
Does the Supreme Court act the way they do if this wasn't a clear weaponization of the court system? Does the Supreme Court act the way they do if this is filed on July 6th, July 7th, July 8th? Does the Supreme Court act the way they do if they don't have to be hauled in on a holiday in order to do this? I have serious questions
Sure.
about the timing.
Sure.
I have if someone's cutting out saying it's a long weekend, I'm getting away for the weekend. No, we're going to drop this indictment now. Like
Yeah.
the indictment had to be dropped before a holiday weekend. Are you kidding me? I think that plays into it.
Sure.
Quick break, coming back next.
Troy writes, the need for the second injunction or reversal of the arrest warrant made one thing perfectly clear. The lynch squad wanted that mugshot for the next election cycle. Yeah. And by the way, I agree with you. The timing was intentional. The timing was actually absolutely intentional. And how do we get to a $400,000 plus bond? Well, I'm guessing what they do is they assign, there were multiple charges, like multiple counts. And they say this count has this much, this count has this much, and then they calculate it based on that. So if you have like 1,000 charges and each one's like 5,000, well then you end up with a massive bond.
How well versed are you on the threatening letters?
I've read them. Okay. I don't think that they're very threatening. I think it's a legal document. I think it's a lawyer writing a letter as the state attorney saying, "Hey, what you're about to do is not okay." And I kind of took it in a don't put me in this position.
Yeah.
Is that how you read it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't. But as we've learned recently, sometimes a threat and a promise look eerily similar.
Yeah. Or in this case, a threat and really good advice.
Yeah. Well, as Attorney General, she issues advisories.
Right.
Who's the better performance there? Paul McCartney or Stevie Nicks? Who, if you had to pick one, who would you have? Stevie Nicks now?
Like right now.
Yeah. But she could have had anybody, right? Like Elton John.
Why are we saying Stevie Nicks is like she's not?
She's old. She's older. ZZ Top.
She's old, but she's not still performing the way that Journey's still performing.
Stevie Nicks is 78. Paul McCartney's 84.
People still like her shows.
I don't.
Speaking of good dudes, Roger Kadar.
Best around.
What time is his funeral today? I got court.
I had it.
I got Nancy Grace in court.
Court TV again?
No, Nancy Grace. I want to get yelled at. Does that say something a little bit about me? Sometimes I like getting yelled at by strong women. My son is at stay away camp this week. So I have like a week-long yard pass. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. Probably get some sleep.
Funeral will be held at the F.G. Clark Activity Center at 6. Public viewing 3 to 6.
So it's tonight. Okay.
I got all excited. I was cooking yesterday. I made caramelized onions, and then I made yeah, well, I perfected it. I do a lot of, like, if I'm trying to figure out how to do something, I'll do it, and then I'll figure it out, and then I'll do it a second time, figure it out. I made like a little pasta out of it. It was good.
Nice.
Yeah. Could have put it out on a hot dog. Speaking of hot dogs, how do you like to do your hot dog? On a grill? Boil it? Microwave? Boil it? How do you want to do your hot dog?
I like a grilled hot dog.
Okay.
I just like seeing burl.
I like to have the open flame on the oven and just kind of let the juice drip into the oven and the gas and the, yeah.
I have a gas stove, so yeah, I think you do too.
I do. I do have a future moral dilemma Monday about dogs and walking dogs and picking up after your dogs, depending on where they, like if they poop on the servitude, not your property, but the servitude, do you still have to pick it up?
How Tara has that walkway in that little.
One side is your yard, the other side is like the
I don't
street.
care where the dog craps.
You should pick it up.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll give one.
Do you have a dog?
No,
Okay. Did you have a dog? It looks like you had a dog.
I
at
had a
some point.
dog growing up.
Okay.
We have not had a dog since Nola died. We had a dog when we first got married.
Okay.
But we're never home.
I'm a picker up a poop. I pick up the poop.
We have a deal with James. If he scores a basket in a mercy game, we'll get a dog. So he scored a basket in a Mongoose game, which to me is
I
not the
feel like you should get that dog on that.
same. If he
Scored it on this weekend?
no first game out, he scored.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. He didn't touch the ball much yesterday.
I was going to go watch, but then I felt it would be kind of creepy.
I'm starting to see that there's some parents who don't belong there.
Okay.
Because they're too loud. Like they're hypercritical of yelling at the refs and whatnot. 637. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Bonus legally served. Attorney Franz Borghardt in the house today. You got Nancy Grace today, huh?
I got Nancy Grace. I got Court. I got all sorts of stuff.
That's what are you talking about with Nancy?
So there's a mom in Idaho, can't think of her name off the top of my head, who's accused of killing her 2 kids. Whether it be by asphyxiation. Her defense is no, they're dead by vaccinations. It's one of those.
Oh, that is such a
one of those.
That sounds like a case that even Netflix would turn down the dock for that one.
I don't know.
All right.
You know, Idaho uses the firing squad
No.
for death penalty. Fun fact.
I really wish we would do that. That's
You have conversations about cruel and unusual punishment with death penalty.
Is it cruel and unusual if you die quicker?
I mean,
cheaper.
I think they use marksman. I don't think it's it's not like hey Brian, what you doing on Saturday? You want to come cap ass?
No, it's just like it's not.
So
you don't normally it's not something you see very often, but it's not something I would be.
So we were talking about. See, I'm the one bringing it back.
Sorry. Yep. No.
We were talking about the Attorney General getting indicted.
And we've got a whole lot to cover on that front. Okay, let's start off with the bond. We covered a good chunk of that, but
how do we get to a huge $400,000 plus bond?
Right.
Which is ridiculous.
Which
right?
I know is not the topic we were talking about heading into
but
break.
I think it bears pertinence.
Right.
That may not be anything nefarious. A lot of parishes, a lot of courts, what they do is if you're charged with 5 things, they'll assign a bond amount on each charge and then they'll add them up and aggregate them. And so I think what happened was, I think she had multiple counts of malfeasance, multiple counts of intimidation. They probably assigned an amount to each count and then stacked it. It's a big bond.
Okay, let me ask you this.
She's not a flight risk.
Let me ask you this. Would her bond have been less if she had murdered someone in New Orleans?
Probably.
Yeah. Let's start there.
That's a different conversation.
I understand. $400,000. It's like, what did she do? Park wrong on Canal Street?
Yeah. You could release her on her own recognizance and the society would be okay.
All right. Let's get back to the question that I was asking heading into break. Because you said it's not normal or a normal
did they
case.
Selectively pick a time that she might get additional bad press by picking a holiday weekend?
Right.
Yes. Did they pick a time where it could be more inconvenient for her for the holiday weekend? Yes. This was strategic. I may be wrong on this point, but it smells strategic. It looks strategic. You had the grand jury. Did they come down on Thursday or did they come down on Friday?
Oh, they came down on Thursday.
Yeah. They came down the day before a holiday. So play this out. She has an active arrest warrant. Why is it the Attorney General turned herself in? Right? That's how that would have played out.
Because it was a 3.5 to 4 day weekend,
right.
Is why. And she was.
Did the attorney? Now, your other question: did the Louisiana Supreme Court step in because of the egregious nature of this
weaponization?
Weaponization. Well, they are a political entity as well. They're elected officials.
Yes, they are.
And I asked the question. I'm going to answer your question with the question I asked earlier. Does she get treated differently because she's the Attorney General? That's part of the reason why they stepped in. Not because of her, but because of the office, I think.
See, I'm of the opinion, and I don't, I'm not a member of the bar. I don't have a law degree, but but I know what it's like to be inconvenienced.
Just a caveman.
I'm of the good call. I'm of the opinion that if you bother the Supreme Court heading into a holiday weekend, it's not going to go the way you think it's going to go.
I think they went too far in their decision. I think they did the right thing staying execution of the arrest warrant. I think they did the right thing staying proceedings. I think they went too far in making commentary on the merits.
Mhm.
But we have a lot of that going across the board. We have a governor that said, no matter what happens, I'm a partner as quick as I can. Well,
Why wouldn't he though?
okay. Well, the problem with that statement is what? You only pardon somebody if they're convicted. So is the governor saying that he thinks that she's going to get convicted of something?
No, the governor's saying don't waste your time. It doesn't matter if she's guilty or not.
I disagree. I disagree. The optics of him saying that to me were not great. And again, I believe they're bogus charges.
Right.
The problem I have, though, having been a former prosecutor, by the way, they didn't have to go to a grand jury on this. These were not charges that they have to go get an indictment. The special prosecutor could have unilaterally said, I'm going to formally charge her through what's called a bill of information.
Mhm.
By the way, the special prosecutor is a former judge in Orleans who is being represented in allegations by the AG's office.
Yeah.
By the way, who's paying for Liz Murrill's representation right now? Is the state of Louisiana paying for it, or is it private?
That's a good question because she's been indicted
During the course and scope of her work.
Right. So, yeah.
All these questions.
She's representing the state through the course and scope of her work. So, like, it should be the state picking up the tab, shouldn't it?
That would be the argument.
I would make that argument.
So here.
And by the way, it's based off of things that happened through the legislative process, which was the actions of the state to begin with.
That is what we have not talked about. Why in the world would the attorney general write a letter to a council or a mayor or anybody about breaking the law? Because the Louisiana legislature, for better or for worse, a political entity, made some legal changes in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. To make New Orleans like the rest of the state, mind you.
Why they made the decisions.
To make it look.
Why they made the decisions is of no moment. They changed the law. It is the law now.
Right. So follow the law.
A cadre, a group, whatever you want to call it, of citizens who happen to be elected officials in Orleans were contemplating doing what? Breaking the law.
Right.
The attorney general, again, I'm not the biggest fan of. The attorney general writes a letter. I've read the letter. You've read the letter. A lot of people have read the letter. Is it a threat? I don't know that it is. I think it's hey, if you do what you're about to do, you may be running afoul to the law.
Right.
Which, by the way, I want prosecutors to write letters to people who are about to break the law saying, hey, maybe you're not clear about what you're about to do. Right. If you do what you're about to do, there may be legal consequences.
So if you're driving down the interstate, and you're doing about 85, and you see somebody on the other side of the interstate flash their headlights at you, what do you do?
Depends on what state you are.
Well, what do you do?
I mean, I would slow down.
Okay, you would slow down.
Right.
Because that person told you that there was a problem with law enforcement coming on the way. Did they threaten you?
Do you feel that the mayor of New Orleans was really intimidated by this?
No.
By anything? No.
No, I feel that we're seeing history repeat itself. When you try to make change in New Orleans from outside of New Orleans pushes back.
And now...
And listen, that's my favorite city on the planet. Let's be very clear about that. Well, aside from my home. But, like, I love the city of New Orleans. But when you try to push down on New Orleans from outside of New Orleans gets mad.
I think this is the new political landscape we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And look, have I seen people get into... So we have me saying this on the record. You can, in fact, indict a ham sandwich. As a prosecutor, I can go in, actively seek an indictment and get an indictment. I can go in and tell the grand jurors, and by the way, it's all supposed to be secret.
Right.
There's so many issues. The other issue is, was the court open when they read the grand jury indictment? Is that a legal issue or not? But the whole thing's supposed to be secret. The whole proceedings are supposed to be secret. The prosecutor presents evidence to the grand jury. The citizens of New Orleans, of that parish, make a decision on whether or not there's probable cause to charge her with a crime. Not proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Probable cause.
Mm-hmm.
There's no cross-examination. The defense doesn't get to go in and say, whoa. I want to cross-examine that detective. No, None of that happens.
As far as the Supreme Court, what they've said thus far, we might have to break this down further on Wednesday,
sure,
because there's a whole lot
There'll
still
be
to be
stuff
uncovered.
that happens between now and Wednesday.
As far as where the Supreme Court is right now, has she been indicted?
Yes.
Okay, but
there is an active arrest warrant that has been stayed.
But that it has been stayed. From now until the Supreme Court gets back together again or whatever, it's been stayed for why?
So it has been stayed procedurally for the trial court the defense and the trial court to examine whether or not there was legal impropriety such that the indictment, the term is quash, Quash. It's only two ways to get rid of an indictment. There's a legal defect and you quash it, or a jury of your peers or judge at trial on the merits say not guilty. That is the only two ways to get rid of an indictment. They've remanded the indictment to see if there's some kind of legal defect. Okay. But they've also telegraphed what they're going to do. So they'll have that proceeding with that judge. The judge will make a decision. If the defense doesn't get what they want, they'll take a writ to the Supreme Court again. If the state doesn't get what they want, they'll take a writ to the Supreme Court. Okay. And then the proceedings will go forward from there.
But no matter what, when Attorney General Liz Murrill runs for re-election, it's going to say indicted. Every commercial.
But does that really change? I mean, this is not hyperbolic of me. We have a president that's is a convicted felon. That doesn't stop us.
That's part of the equation. No, I'm right there with you. I don't think it's going to get the reaction that they think it's going to get. He's attorney Franz Borghardt. We do Legally Served normally on Wednesdays, but we got a little bonus today. Hey, Franz, you want to stick around for Moral Dilemma Monday?
Yeah.
That's next.
So look, while we have this time, bigger picture. If I'm one of my clients and I've been indicted for a crime that's not murder, like a financial crime, and I'm watching all this, what's the first thing I'm going to do? Hey, was there any procedural defects in my indictment?
Right.
That is going, the offshoot effect of this is going to be defense attorneys are sitting back with popcorn. Why? Because chaos creates opportunity in my world.
Yes.
I hate to say it, but it's true. Marcus Aurelius, the obstacle is the way.
Yes.
Yeah. So, dog poops in the median, you got to pick it up. Right?
Yeah, that's not today.
What if it's soft serve? Do I still pick it up? What if it's public property? Let's say my dog goes walking at the library, in the grass in the library. Leave it, pick it up. I think you pick it up.
I don't understand where there's a question.
Because some people don't pick up their dog's poop.
That's not a matter of whether or not it's on private or public property. That's a matter of their assholes.
I see what you did there. Dog poop, assholes.
Oh, no, I wasn't even trying for that. Oh my God. Can I delete this email any faster? Hi, producers and reporters. Summer brings travel, family gatherings, and the potential for another rise in COVID-19 cases. Do I want to book an interview for that? I absolutely do not.
I love how they go high producers and reporters.
Yeah. I hate the stupid blanket book this interview emails.
It needs to be personal. You need to feel special.
No, I don't even need to feel special. They're always shitty pitches.
Did you already clip the comment? You do that later today, right? Where you take one of our snippets and clip.
I'm gonna. It'll probably go up about 11 o'clock.
Okay, that's perfect. Just text me. I know you. I know you tag me, but if you text me, I'll also like do stuff with it. So, does it make, if you're indicted or convicted of a crime, does that make you a badass if the crime is perceived to be like just politically retaliatory?
I don't know.
Like our sitting president is a convicted felon.
Sort of,
right?
Is convicted of 34 counts of the exact same thing, and it's the exact same thing that nobody else has ever been charged with. That's
my dog does need a little bit of shampoo and then a little shower. She got the stank. It's dog smell. You know how dogs just kind of like they get to the point where you're like, okay, I don't know if Maggie would be down with getting a put her in the shower and then Shawshank her.
Yeah. She stank.
Six 652 Talk World 73 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We're gonna get you to Moral Dilemma Monday here in just a quick second. Do need to remind you about the folks over at ExxonMobil for the last 115 years. Been in our backyard, been generating energy for the entire world out of our own backyard. Been doing it safely, been employing our neighbors, and they're looking to take that into the future. So how do they take that into the future? Well, part of that equation is going to involve carbon capture, usage, and sequestration. Part of that equation is going to involve the CCUS. Well, what are they doing to make sure they're taking the future and utilizing the experience of the past to take into the future? For more on that, visit aboutlaccs.com, aboutlaccs.com. Time for Moral Dilemma Monday. Let's hit it.
Some questions in life have a clear-cut answer. Other times, not so much. That's why every week, Brian and Breland bring the conversation to you. No right answers, no wrong answers, just your answers. It's Moral Dilemma Monday on Talk 107.3.
All right. What magic solutions have you bought off the TikTok shop? Do you even know what a peptide is? We're getting so much advice coming in from either social media, AI chatbots. When you Google anything, you're going to become a hypochondriac. And if we're finding now that doctors are cautioning against using AI for medical advice. Let's just throw it out there. Let's start with Breland. Breland, have you fallen victim to utilizing AI to be a better source for medical information than your own doctor?
Yes, I have used it before. More so not, I have this cough and I need advice about that. It's more so like my fitness journey.
Mm-hmm.
What supplements can I use, which I know enough about, like creatine and stuff like that. But I have asked ChatGPT a time or two medical advice. Yeah.
Franz?
Not only do I use AI sometimes for this purpose, sometimes I use celebrities like Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And then I cross-reference with AI. I take a supplement called methylene blue. I can't even look at it.
Is it working?
I don't know.
I've heard about this.
If I could be honest,
you have to be honest.
Psychosomatically, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know that it makes my tongue blue. But what I'll do is, now I have a concierge doctor that I can talk to and text anytime I want.
Mm-hmm.
But mainly where I use it is supplements.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll use AI to cross-reference. Hey, does this supplement work? And if you saw my list of supplements, you'd make fun of me.
Here's the thing. No, I would not, because I take a stack of them as well. And they all started with TikTok shop. Oh, by the way.
TikTok
so,
Same.
Oh, yeah.
Same.
Oh,
yeah.
And well, yeah, I don't know why TikTok would be any more or less viable than just standard Googling.
I watched a video on oregano black seed.
What is
oregano
that?
oil.
What
and
is
I mean, I know what
that?
oregano is.
It's
They use it in
supposed to,
cooking.
oregano oil, black seed supplements are supposed to help with the inflammation and some other stuff. It's 2 pills that are like,
Really?
it's like taking a massive concentrated dose of oregano in a pill form. And like, now again, we've known each other long enough. I'm at the healthiest I've ever been at.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, but what's
And
causing
it all started with the Fat Boy 50.
right?
all so many years ago.
You get credit for that. Now, peptides. I don't use AI for the peptides because I don't want to know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even look at you.
Wait,
Like,
why wouldn't you?
Like-
Your body's supposed to naturally make the peptides,
so
right?
I do my blood work on a quarterly basis.
Mhm.
So I've told my doctor emphatically, if anything weird is in my blood, I'm off the peptides. I lost, for those who are watching, I lost 80 pounds through healthy living and eating, and then I lost the remaining 70. I'm down 150, 70, and I've maintained based on peptide usage.
Mhm.
But yes, guys, I mean, is WebMD though AI now? Or is it just a
That's
constant?
what I was
even
about to ask.
even if it's WebMD, you're still left to your own devices. Because with WebMD, I have 90 different kinds of ailments right now on WebMD.
Right.
I'm
We're
constantly
dying,
tired.
according to WebMD.
Right. That's the big one with me right now is everywhere on social media. I'm told I have high cortisol.
Okay.
I don't even know what that is.
What is cortisol?
It's
High
apparently
stress levels.
it's a stress hormone.
Stress hormone.
You stressed out?
What?
No.
Yeah, no, Brian Haldane lives stress.
Yeah, but if you leave it up to AI, if you leave it up to social media, you run the risk of, number one, taking advice from just something. You're buying snake oil.
So the hypocrisy of me is I'm the first person when confronted with someone who's using AI on legal advice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the first person to be like, yeah, because AI never hallucinates and,
Right.
and never, yeah.
Aha! Yes, sir.
Yep.
Right.
So,
And in fact, when someone in my field, in my area of practice, when someone's using AI to confront or question something.
mhm.
I think with medicine, for me, the moral dilemma is easier because I also use it as a starting point.
Right.
And I will generally, if you don't have access to your doctor, getting an appointment to go see them to ask them a question about, hey, should I take apple cider vinegar
Right.
supplements, or is that going to do something to me? You're not going to do
Here-
that, right?
Here is what I have a problem with. So people will say, well, you always need to go to your doctor first. They know the most about you. They know your medical history. My own doctor doesn't know everything about me.
Why not?
You know,
Whoa. Why not? Because you haven't told your doctor everything about you.
well, that's true.
Maybe you should take your doctor to dinner.
That's
Maybe have a couple glasses of wine.
I'm just saying.
Tell
if you
them what's
share-
going on.
If you share while you're in the doctor's office,
Nobody
the
does
doctor-
that though.
but isn't that the problem though? We're more willing
Yeah.
to.
Franz, you still smoking cigars? Yeah, occasionally. How often
Yeah.
do you smoke the cigars, Franz?
Yeah,
I don't know. Every single day and sometimes twice in a day.
When
I
they
don't
ask
say
me
that.
how much I drink, I'm like very socially.
Mhm.
The real truth is I drink 3 times a week.
Right.
I thought you were going
So-
to say 3 times a day.
Why not?
Been there, done that.
I'm just saying, if we could be honest with the computer, why can't we be honest with our doctor?
People go to therapy and they lie to them.
Baffling to me.
That's going to be, I think that the next frontier is going to be AI therapy.
Wow.
And
really?
how out of the
I
box,
mean-
bet you know what
I
crazy
mean-
is that going to be?
I mean,
All right, we got to.
Breland, don't kill your neighbor.
We gotta bail on air. Let's keep the conversation going over in the chat. Facebook Live, courtesy of Lake Urgent Care. Appreciate you, Franz.
Yep. Would you be more likely to go to therapy if you could do AI therapy?
No. Well, you're not going to therapy at that point. You're staying home and you're telling your problems to a computer that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with what the input is.
Sounds like apocalyptic.
Yeah, it does.
Blade Runner.
By the way, there is no confidentiality on the internet.
Yeah, I know.
So it's not a private conversation.
People have watched, I have watched trials where people's Google search engines, including their AI, have been used against them in trial.
Right.
I had to get rid of a body.
People use what?
I know.
On OpenAI and
Look, I'm not saying use your Google or AI to search things like how to get rid of a body. I'm just saying maybe go to a public library. Yeah, don't use your cell phone. I understand the convenience. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm not. I agree.
So methylene blue is supposed to make you feel energetic, clarity of thought. I use these things mainly because I want anti-inflammatory things going on.
Mm-hmm.
I will say apple cider vinegar works. I feel like it does work. The omega fish oil pills I take, The D3, My D3 levels are great.
D3, K2, but I'm not getting anything out of them.
How often do your blood work?
Rarely, if ever. But I'm not feeling any more energetic as a result of it.
Well, you're also, with respect, you're also abusing your body in ways adults should not be abusing your body. And I don't mean that in a negative way, like as in like you're not using meth. I'm just saying like a little bit. What if you got more sleep? Do you think that would make a difference?
It might.
You've come a long way since the energy days. You still drinking the 5 hour, 4 hour, 5 hour?
5 hour occasionally. Occasionally. It's not nearly as much as it used to be.
I feel like with the 5 hour energy drinks and the Red Bulls, you're pissing most of that out.
Yeah. I don't know. Red Bull does the job. Red Bull gets me through.
I'll leave you with this.
Okay.
I drink so much coffee for the same purposes. I can drink a cup of coffee at 9:30 at night and then go to sleep by 9:45. That scares me.
Because that caffeine doesn't even kick in until 2 hours later. Yeah.
Guys, love you to death. Have a great day.
Bye.
Tell Nancy we said hello.
See you Wednesday.
Haldane says hello, Nancy.
Here, let me get you out of the commercial.
Yeah.
That Franz.
Who else in this morning? Byron's in. Deborah's in. Joe doesn't like carbon capture. Big shock there.
Here you go, sir.
Good morning, Christy. Welcome in, boo. My smartwatch app already has AI diagnosis. Mine just has those rings I have to close.
Yeah, same.
Oh, speaking of which.
I know. It'll tell me you got to stand.
Yep. Oh. You found the medical money from last July?
Ooh, the seat's warm. Thank you, Walton.
Ooh. .705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Brian here with you. Wilton moving in to the producer's chair. We are starting off your 7 o'clock hour at 74 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge as we broadcast live from the 180 Pro studio. Not your IT provider, your IT partner. Learn more at 180pros.com. Busy second hour for you. The good folks over at Our Lady Lake hopping on board for Medical Monday in our next segment. We got Patrick Robinson from LABI, who's going to join us to preview the upcoming workers' comp conference, maybe take a look back at some of the legislation that was passed on that front as well. So business owners, small business people, you're going to want to be dialed in for that for sure. But before we get to anything else, we get you the top stories and trending. The State Library has announced the date for the 22nd Annual Louisiana Book Festival. It'll be October 31st. Going to be 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. in downtown Baton Rouge at the State Library and Capitol Park Museum. You know the whole area out front there. This year, roughly 150 writers will be featured, along with over 100 vendors. Friday morning, Louisiana Supreme Court granted Attorney General Liz Murrill's motion for a stay in her indictment in Orleans Parish. The court noted that, quote, Attorney General makes a compelling argument concerning the disturbing defects in the grand jury proceedings and in the trial court's handling of those proceedings. We broke that down with Franz last hour. That'll be available on demand at talk1073.com. The funeral for legendary former Southern baseball coach Roger Cador will be held on campus today. Visitation 3 to 6 p.m., public viewing 3 to 6 p.m., over at the F.G. Clark Activity Center. The funeral itself will also be at the F.G. Clark Activity Center at 6 p.m. Of course, Roger Cador, my bad. Sorry about that. Led the Jaguars for 33 years, won 2 HBCU national championships and 14 SWAC championships, and passed away with brain cancer. BRPD is building a training simulator to help officers prepare for high-stress situations. The training center can be built out in Zachary. It's being paid for with ARPA funds. It will feature walls that can be structured to create hundreds of different configurations, allowing for various training situations, including active shooters, domestic violence calls, and hostage cases. Community members hosted a march down Winburn Avenue Friday, calling for a stop to gun violence in the city. Saturday, around 1:17 a.m., one person was shot and killed off Calumet Street. Then around 5:20, 2 people were injured in a shooting on Fairchild Street. Early Sunday evening, someone was taken to the hospital after being shot on I-110 near Harding. What you say, Walton?
All right. First off, with the trending stories, there was a mass shooting in Centerville, Mississippi, early Saturday morning, coming in overnight Friday. 2 people were killed, 7 injured. Excuse me.
Yeah, outside of they call it a cafe, but does this seem like this is kind of, it feels like a nightclub type scenario, though, right? I mean, it just, the way this played out, the time of day it played out.
Orchard Cafe on Highway 24 in Centerville.
I don't know a whole lot about Centerville, Mississippi, or Orchard Cafe.
What a way to start the 4th of July weekend, though, for those in the area. Also, coming a little bit more nationwide, we have from Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding. Some people are starting to see some of the first photos coming out of that. A lot of people wondering if it's AI or not. Been talking to Brie Lynn in the studio, and she's of the opinion, don't believe any of that. She's going to be releasing them on her own time, Miss Taylor Swift, whenever.
I guess. So I don't do the celebrity talk a whole lot, mostly because it always degenerates into people believing they know celebrities. Like, we don't know them when they're off camera. We know their personas for sure. But as far as when you hold a wedding in a venue like Madison Square Garden, I'm hard pressed to believe that it's not just the guest list, y'all. It's not just the guest list. You've got caterers, you've got bartenders, you've got roadies working with the musicians. Like, there's people behind the scenes here who could fire off picks and get away with it. I think her guests, she could put on lockdown for sure. But like, if you work at Madison Square Garden or you work for the catering company, the thought that you might squeeze off a couple picks and hope it doesn't get traced back to you is not wholly unreasonable to me.
It's not wholly unreasonable, but I think they do a lot to try to mitigate that, with their staff.
I'm sure. But I'm just saying, if she hit it 100% on lockdown, she'd be the first.
For our third trending story, we got another shark alligator rules for you guys today. This is coming of the shark variety in Long Island at Jones Beach. A swimmer was bitten by a shark. I guess, minor bite to the foot, and actually managed to walk over to the lifeguard stand for some assistance there.
See, that's the way to roll right there, man.
Just walk off the shark.
Yeah, walk it off. Walk it off. Just tape him up. He's fine.
I like the mentality.
Yeah, I mean, and like if you're the shark, so they couldn't find the shark. They closed the beach for 3 hours. Couldn't find the daggum shark. That's a heck of a way to start a holiday weekend.
Do they normally go until they find the shark?
I would think so. Yeah. I mean, well, I don't know what their batting average is, but off Long Island. But it's the 4th of July weekend, and you have a shark bite somebody on the foot. Are you really sending people back? Nobody's going in the water. Nobody's going in the water.
Back in, even if it was just a small bite.
Why? But then you got Mayor Vaughn walking up and down the beach telling people to get in the water. And then before you know it, the Kittner boy gets eaten.
I'd be good with the sand at that point.
Yeah. That's your look at your trending stories this morning. All right. We've got so much ground to cover here. Medical Monday coming up in just a minute. Let me remind you about the folks over at Neurojust first. Neurojust. Neurojust.com is the website if you want to check them out. They're over on Bluebonnet Boulevard if you wanted to go visit them in real life. If you or someone you know has been battling with anxiety or depression, and you really don't like the way you feel on the meds, the antidepressants, or even worse, now they have pills to make the other pills work. If you don't like going down that path, you're seeing diminished returns, you're feeling the side effects of the meds, highly recommend TMS therapy. In fact, I went by there last week, sat in the chair, went through a session just to kind of test drive the whole thing. I can tell you this 100% firsthand. It is painless. It is non-invasive. It essentially feels like somebody tapping on your head a couple of times. There are zero side effects to walk away from it at all. And the folks over at Neurojust are going to battle for you to make sure your insurance picks up the tab. That is exactly what their mission is. My biggest thing about the team at Neurojust is how much they actually care, how much they're dialed into your mental health, how much they want you to walk away with those battling, raging waters, those raging seas inside your head, just calming down a little bit. So if you're feeling depressed, if you're lonely, if you're isolated, if you're going down that path, if you're irritable and have been treatment resistant thus far, give them a call, 225-330-7382, 225-330-7382, or just visit neurojust.com.
So the medical Monday is already
You can actually, well, don't take him off long yet. But when his interview goes on, you will turn him on the Facebook.
Turn Brian's live mic.
Yeah, to where you're not hearing him in the interview at the same time. You don't don't do a rejoiner, just fire on that.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it has like music already.
Okay.
This report is sponsored by AutoZone. In the zone, starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone. This report comes to you from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. Buying or selling a new home? Mid-City Title makes it easy. Mobile closings, expert services, midcitytitle.com.
It's time for your weekly checkup. This is Medical Monday, presented by Our Lady of the Lake Health.
We're talking about the epilepsy program over at Our Lady of the Lake Children's Health today, one of the most advanced pediatric epilepsy programs in the state, offering hope and healing to children and families facing seizure disorders. We got Dr. Yash Shah on with us, a pediatric neurologist, one of the experts who is leading the program. He's here to walk us through what makes this care unique. And I tell you what, before we get started with anything else, first of all, Dr. Shah, welcome aboard. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Brian.
Glad to have you on here. I always start with the most basic of questions, and that is, well, today, that is, what exactly is epilepsy and how does it affect children?
So, epilepsy is one of those conditions that's way more common than people think. It affects about 1 in 26 people at some point in their lives. And there are more than 55,000 people living with epilepsy in Louisiana. So what is epilepsy? It's basically if you have 2 or more seizures without fever or 2 or more seizures which are unprovoked. I always tell parents when someone is having convulsions, think of it as like an electrical storm in your brain. Normally, our brain cells are having this nice, organized conversation with each other. But during seizure, it's like everyone is suddenly shouting at once. And then there is this sudden excessive electrical activity. And that's what is epilepsy. What I want parents to understand is that epilepsy isn't just about seizures. Because I always tell families that seizures are just the tip of the iceberg. And below this tip, that's where we find learning challenges, behavioral problems, anxiety, mood problems, sleep troubles, ADHD, and even sometimes developmental delays. So when a child is struggling in school, it's not because they are not smart enough. Their brain is just working overtime, trying to manage all these electrical disruptions. But here is the good news. I love sharing this with our families that with proper treatment, most kids with epilepsy go on to live a completely normal, active lives. They play sports, go to prom, graduate in the college, the whole 9 yards.
So epilepsy is, I mean, okay, let me re-ask this. Can you have epilepsy without having seizures? I mean, are there levels to it?
That's a very good question. You have to have seizures when you define epilepsy, but with epilepsy, you can have other conditions because there is chronic changes that have taken in place in the brain. So that can be associated with other learning challenges and other issues. However, there are certain seizures which are not convulsive. There are certain seizures which can be just tearing episodes or having some mild jerks. And those are also seizures. So there are so many different types of seizures. It's very important to understand those different types in order to understand epilepsy.
What makes the epilepsy program at Our Lady of the Lake Children's Health unique in Louisiana?
What gets me excited about our program is we are completely patient-centered. And I mean that. Every single decision we make, we are sitting down with the families and saying, what do you think? What works for your family? Because honestly, parents know their kids better than anyone. Here is the thing that used to break my heart. Families would come to me a few years back and say, Dr. Shah, we have been driving to Houston every 3 months. We have been flying to Atlanta for our son's epilepsy care. And I would think, why should Louisiana families have to leave the state for epilepsy care? So we built something special right here at home. What I'm most proud of is we have created this incredible village approach where the child walks through our doors. They're not just getting me, they're getting our whole dream team. We have our epilepsy nurses who practically becomes part of their families. We have neuropsychologists who understand how seizures mess with your learning, social workers who can navigate their insurance mess, and the dietitian who specializes in epilepsy diets. So in our toolbox, we have the latest cutting-edge seizure medications. We have new MRI machines. We have epilepsy monitoring unit to help get proper diagnosis and treatment for these patients. And here is something cool. We partner closely with Epilepsy Alliance of Louisiana, and these folks are absolute champions and advocates for families fighting the good fight every single day.
We are talking with Dr. Yash Shah. This is Medical Monday, presented by the folks at Our Lady of the Lake, talking about the Children's Health Epilepsy Program at Our Lady of the Lake. Dr. Shah, what are some signs that a child should be evaluated by a pediatric epilepsy specialist?
This is such an important question. And honestly, I always tell parents, trust your gut. You know your child better than anyone else. So here is what I want parents to be watching for. If you're seeing your child just completely zoning out, like they are staring into the space, and you shake them or call their name and even clap right in front of their face, and they don't snap out of it, that's a red flag. That's a sign of staring seizure or absent seizures. Sometimes parents tells me, Dr. Shah, it's like my child disappeared for around 15 seconds. Also, keep eye on some of those weird movements which can be misdiagnosed as, oh, that's just a tick, which is actually not. Sometimes there are some jerky movements, especially early in the morning when they are waking up, or while eating their breakfast, or late at night when they are falling asleep and they suddenly drop their phones. So these are all red flags. Um, and here and but what makes me concerned is if your child has been diagnosed with seizure disorder or epilepsy, and the seizures aren't getting better with their medications, or if you're noticing the smart kids suddenly struggling in school, having behavioral problems, dealing with awful side effects of their meds, that's when you absolutely need to see pediatric epilepsy specialist. And don't wait, and don't let anyone tell you, oh, let's just try another one more medication. Sometimes you need that specialized expertise to getting things right.
Well, let's talk about that medication. And how do you approach care for children that have drug-resistant epilepsy?
So this is probably one of the most heartbreaking conversations that I have with my families, but also one where I get to share some genuinely exciting hope. First, let me break down what is drug-resistant epilepsy means. It is when we have tried two or more different seizure medications at a really good doses, and if they are just not working, at that point, the chances of third or fourth or fifth traditional medication suddenly working, they are pretty slim, unfortunately. Now, here is the thing that might surprise you. About 30% of the kids who have epilepsy fall into this category of drug-resistant epilepsy. That sounds scary, but here is what I tell every single family sitting in my office, feeling defeated, is we are not absolutely we are not out of options. We have so many different things that we can do for these families. And this is where it gets very exciting. We have got incredible new 3 Tesla brain MRI machine here, which is like a super vision into your brain. We can spot the things which regular MRIs can miss out on, like areas where the brain didn't quite develop the way it should have been developed, and help find where the problem is, and so that we can better manage these epilepsies. And our brand new epilepsy monitoring unit that we are having in our hospital, which we just launched this month, is game changer, because we can literally watch what's happening in child's brain during these episodes.
Talk with Dr. Yash Shah about the children's epilepsy program, or the epilepsy program at Our Lady of the Lake Children's Health as part of Medical Monday. Okay, so Dr. Shah, all that technology you just mentioned, how does it translate into some innovative therapies y'all are implementing?
This is honestly the most exciting time I have ever seen in epilepsy care, because we are moving away beyond the old one-size-fits-all approach with medications and newer treatment approaches. Let me tell you about some of those cool stuff we are doing. We have these devices called as vagus nerve stimulators. I like to think of them as a pacemaker for the brain. So when we implant these devices, they are constantly monitoring for seizures. And if someone is having seizures, that can detect seizures, and they jump in and they stop these seizures before it spreads. So it's like 24/7, your guardian angel for these kids. And here is what really gets me excited, as both as doctor and a researcher, is we are actually conducting clinical trials right here in our hospitals. So families don't have to travel to major cities. We are bringing cutting-edge treatments to Louisiana. We are testing new medication for kids whose seizures are not responding to traditional treatments. And we also have advanced genetic testing that we offer to these patients to come up with the personalized treatment plan to better manage their seizures and epilepsy.
I'm sorry, I may have misunderstood a little bit of that. Did I hear this? Are y'all able to, are there trigger warnings that let you know a seizure's coming? Like, is there something to know there's a seizure before there's a seizure?
That's a very good question. So sometimes the heart rate goes up before the seizures. Some kids, little older kids, they can feel, it's known as aura. they can feel the seizures coming. They feel some weird sensation in their belly. Sometimes they feel some spots in front of their eyes. So those are some of those things which can help detect seizures before they come, especially if they have something known as focal seizures. That means it's just coming from one part of the brain, which alarms us to find out seizures even before they start.
Is there a way to, forgive the analogy, Doc, but is there a way to, like, if a child with asthma knows an asthma attack's coming, they can hit the inhaler, right? Is there an equivalent for that with epilepsy?
There are devices. There is one device is known as Epi Monitor, which is a seizure watch, which is an FDA approved device, which can actually detect seizures once your heart rate goes up. But there are not a lot of things available right now because there are some epilepsies, because there are so many different types of epilepsies, and especially with generalized seizures. If the seizure is starting from all part of your brain, then it's difficult to predict when they are going to come. That's what makes this diagnosis and treatment very challenging, because the brain is very unpredictable. It can fire any point of time.
See, you laid out so much technology and being on the forefront of all the advancements. I may have just gotten a little bit ahead of you right there. We're talking with Dr. Yash Shah from Our Lady of the Lake Children's Health. He's with their epilepsy program. All right, let's talk a little bit about the teamwork. Let's talk a little bit about how everything comes together from y'all's end.
I love this question because it shows what makes our program special. Treating epilepsy isn't a solo act. It's like conducting a symphony where every musician has a crucial part to play. Our epilepsy nurses are absolutely the heart of what we do. We have nurse practitioners running our new onset seizure clinic. We have neuropsychologists to help understand something really important, how seizures can affect child's learning, their memory, their behavior. And here is something I'm truly proud of. We partner closely with Epilepsy Alliance of Louisiana. These folks are doing incredible work across our state, not just here in Baton Rouge. They are advocates. They will go bed for families in schools. They organize events where the kids and teens can meet others going through the same thing. There is something powerful about a 12-year-old realizing that they are not alone, because epilepsy isn't just about seizures. It's about helping kids thrive in school and their life. We also collaborate with our pediatric neurosurgeons and other neurologists across our sister hospitals in Lafayette, Monroe, New Orleans, where if we have a complex case, we all sit together, discuss together, and come up with a solid treatment plan for these kids. And that's how we make sure that our pediatric patients get the best possible care, no matter where they live in Louisiana.
Fascinating stuff. And I'm going to want a part 2 on this interview, but we are just straight up out of time. He's Dr. Yash Shah. For more information, give them a call at 225-765-5500. Dr. Shah, thank you so much for a couple minutes.
Thank you so much.
Always appreciate the partnership with the good folks over at Our Lady of the Lake. And always need to remind you when we pre-record Medical Monday. I always forget to do that on the front end. We do like to remind you when we're not live, and that's on me. That previous interview was pre-recorded. Love our partnership with Our Lady of the Lake. Also love our partnership with 180 Pros. 180pros.com is the website if you want to check them out online. 330-2200 is the phone number if you want to just give them a call. They bill themselves as not your IT provider, your IT partner, and it really does make a difference when you have a partner versus a provider. I mean, if a provider is going to, answer the phone when you call, they'll get around to it. You are definitely a priority. But when you have a partner, you're the priority. And the fact that they're here locally, I think, makes a huge difference as well, because there's a level of accountability when you call on them. There's, you can call an 800 number, sure, and be put through an automated menu to find someone who can get to your problem and try to dial in remotely and whatnot. But when your entire network goes down and they can't dial in and someone has to be physically on site, you need somebody who's here in town. You don't want to leave your livelihood as a small business owner. Don't want to leave your livelihood in the hands of I-10 traffic. So I recommend visiting 180pros.com when it comes to keeping your network running. When it comes to the latest in cybersecurity, they're all over it. 180pros.com. All right. Patrick Robinson from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry is going to join us in our next segment. Before we get you to news, though, I didn't want the full morning to pass without giving a couple of extra seconds to former Southern baseball coach Roger Cador. WBRZ has put up a great piece of just the former players and people in Baton Rouge that know and remember and love Roger Cador. His funeral is going to be this evening at the F.G. Clark Activity Center. But when I tell you absolute Baton Rouge legend lost to brain cancer, there hasn't been many better people out there. So recommend hitting up WBRZ to read that. In the meanwhile, here's news. Oh, shoot. Patrick. Hotline is down. Please call. Oh, so I had a handful of DMs that were not approved by Facebook, so they stayed over there, or not approved by Messenger, so they stayed over there. And do you want to approve these? And apparently, let me read a few of them here real quick. All based. These were all on a day that. All on a day that we were talking about Tony Spell. Yeah.
Patrick, I'm going to put you on hold for just a little bit, and 7:35, 7:37, Brian will be putting you.
So let's start with Scott, who tells me, maybe you should invite the POS to your neighborhood and your grandkids. You're an idiot. Please don't reproduce. You're YOUR. Yeah. Yeah. Kyle, who doesn't even have a profile photo, says, do you drive a Subaru? Total douchebag. Yeah, I think he meant douche, but he spelled douchebag. Do you drive a Subaru was followed with a period, not a question mark. Can you tie your own shoes without your large wife? Also a period. Go work out or something. Lay off McDonald's. Lee Bishop X, who I don't know why he's sounding off at all. He lives in Waldorf, Maryland. Very simply, fuck you, dude. I watched that fucking video. Pasture is absolutely correct in what he did as far as your fat ass. You need to shut the fuck up, period. Pasture. Yeah, no, pasture. Like put him out to pasture, not pastor. So, yeah, good stuff. Gotta feel the love. No, I don't know why. I don't know why. Yeah. To get a rise out of me. So he could say, yeah, the guy living across the street was bringing the pastor's family into it. I know. Yeah. They were all in the requested area because I'm not friends with any of them. So. Pasture. Even still, though, that's relatively mild. If I don't get an actual death threat, am I doing my job? Yeah, I mean, it's been a few years since I've gotten, I'm going to kill you. No, I'm sorry, not I'm going to kill you. Someone needs to come down to 929 Government Street to put you in your place. Yeah. Yeah.
Most investments today feel like second jobs. Real estate, you're a landlord. Stocks, you're a day trader. Crypto, you're a full-time researcher. You don't like it. That's why more Americans are choosing
Matt, those are coherent opinions. Byron, wow, think how miserable those people must be. Right. Miss Debbie, damn, Brian, you got fans.
Yeah, it's. You wonder why words of affirmation are not my love language.
Your midday momentum. Brian Kilmeade, weekdays at noon on Talk 107.3.
737 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to welcome back to the show, Patrick Robinson with the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Mr. Haldane. How you doing?
Doing very well. We are, just less than 2 months out from the upcoming workers' comp conference. Wanted to run through a little bit of that, if we could. Also talk a little bit about the legislative session that was, if we could. Which end do you want to start on?
Let's talk a little bit about the conference first. It's a, it was a good session, and we'll chat about that too. But we shifted gears for a little bit in June and slowed down. Mm-hmm. Now we're in July. We're 2 months out from the conference. Looking forward to having you there to broadcast on day one of it. But really shifting into high gear to get ready for that.
Well, let's talk about it, because there's very easy to say it's a workers' comp conference. Why do I need to be dialed in? After broadcasting from the conference last year, and I believe the year before as well, if I'm not mistaken, there's a lot to be dialed in on if you're a small business owner. This bubbles up to the forefront very, very quickly. So tell me what folks are going to hear, tell me what they're going to learn, and tell me who they're going to hear from.
Well, it kind of ties into what you said earlier, ties into the session, because there was a good bit done on the workers' comp front, probably more than in the last decade or so, in terms of real substantive change in our workers' comp system. All those things are going to have to be incorporated into business practices, and small businesses, big businesses, all businesses are going to have to know what happened with that. So a lot of our agenda is going to look at that. We're going to have, we've talked about Senator Meyer's bill on the workers' comp fee schedule. Mm-hmm. We're going to have him, and I've actually recruited Will Green, my boss, to come in and moderate a panel with Senator Myers and some other experts to talk about what's going to happen with the fee schedule, what has to be done. Because there's a ton of work between now and the next couple of years that not only the industry, but the agency is going to have to do to incorporate that bill.
Okay, well, then let's kind of interweave previewing the conference with reviewing the session, because now would be a good time to step away and talk about SB4. It was SB 408, was it not, with Senator Myers?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Talk a little bit about what that was.
Well, that was an issue that has been just kind of stuck to the heel of the workers' comp industry for years. Has been a medical fee schedule, how you reimburse docs and other healthcare providers, that just hadn't changed for years. So, docs and providers are smart folks. They figured out ways to do it and be reimbursed that were not, maybe kind of loopholes in the fee schedule. And when you're working off loopholes, that's just not a good way to deliver care efficiently. So Michael Eccles had tried for several sessions. Brock got engaged in a session before this, and then between sessions leading into this year's session, really started talking with a lot of stakeholders on all sides and came up with a bill to not only fix the fee schedule, but also look at modernizing workers' comp in our state generally to get some electronic utilization review things, to look at care recommendations and process them faster. And just make sure that our workers' comp system is delivering care quickly, appropriately, and following, maybe leading in some circumstances compared to other states. So it really is a good, solid bill. It leaves a lot of work for us to do, but creates a pathway for us to really get better.
It's also a good time to kind of remind folks what the importance of workers' comp is, because this is not just you get lost in fee schedules and what's covered and what's not. But the important part here is making sure that workers get healthy again.
Yeah, you spend at least a third of your day. I'm sure you're spending half your day at least working, and the nature of work is that people are going to get hurt at the workplace, and you could have that set up, and you could file lawsuits and deal with all that stuff, or you could have something like the workers' comp system that creates something where you get your medical care quickly. You get, while you're off work, you get some disability benefits to support you, and you get help recovering and getting back to work. So that's what workers' comp is designed to be, that sort of no-fault system that you're not having to litigate and spend 2 or 3 years getting ready for a jury trial and going through all that hassle. You get benefits immediately, and it helps you get back to work quickly, and you recover.
Yeah, and go ahead.
It does, and it deals with, it's a niche issue, except that every single person, whether they are an employer in this state or an employee, or they got a family member that's working for somebody, which is pretty much everybody, has a connection to the workers' comp system.
We got Patrick Robinson on with us from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. September 2nd and 3rd will be the Workers' Compensation Conference. It's going to be going on at L'Auberge Casino Hotel once again. Visit labi.org for more details if you want to sign up. Actually, sponsorships are still available, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, we do. And if anybody's interested, they can just go to labi.org and check out our events tab at the website, and it'll give you all the information on that, or they can pull up my email and phone number from there and give me a call.
Let's get back to the conference itself. What else is on tap aside from the panel that you were just talking about?
Well, I gotta correct something, because we had in the past couple of years, you've been on day 1. I think this year we're shifting you to day 2.
Oh yeah, I wasn't going to step on that. I'm there on the 3rd. Yeah.
And the reason I want to do that is because I want you to be there the evening of day 1, because we got a reception there, and one of the things that I was insisting on is that when we have that reception, I want to have a live band. Last year they gave me a chance to get up and play guitar a little bit, so we will have you there, and you can be set up and be ready to hear the live music at our reception on Wednesday evening. Okay,
all right, looking forward to that for sure. And then on the Thursday, what else are we looking at?
Well, we're going to have a panel of legislators. We'll have Alan Sebo will be there. Emily Chenevert ran one of the really key workers' comp bills that we got through this session. And Emily will be there. I know she has hosted your show on occasion. She'll be there to talk about her bill. One of the funny things that Senator Meyer said as he was finishing up on his bill, and a conference committee report was coming out for passage, he said, he spent a year doing this. He lost a lot of friends, and he wasn't sure he was ever going to run a workers' comp bill again, but he was pleased with the results. I'm not sure that Emily had quite as much a hardship on hers, because it was a little bit more of a straightforward bill. But I think she will agree that when you get into this workers' comp field, as much as it is a bit of a niche industry, the folks that are engaged in it on all sides are going to come out loudly. And they did on Emily's bill, on Brock's bill, and on several of the other ones we had. They were in committee, lined up, and everybody gave their position. So it'll be interesting to hear from those legislators on what they see as the dynamics of workers' comp when they're going through the labor committees.
What did Representative Chenevert's bill do?
Hers was, for years, and we talked about it briefly on one of your shows. It's the bill that allowed employers to file suits in the workers' comp courts. For years, the ability to file suits has been limited to employees, except for a couple of really narrow exceptions to that. What this bill did was, when there is an issue and an employer thinks that employee isn't entitled to workers' comp benefits, but they're not sure, so they don't want to risk getting hit for a penalty or an attorney fee. They can pay the benefits conditionally, but then go and file a dispute with the workers' compensation office and get a decision from a workers' comp judge that says, yeah, you're right, you don't owe these benefits, or no, you do owe them, you should continue to pay them, something like that. But it allows them to resolve those issues through the court system.
Wow. Okay. So if there's somebody, I don't want to say like gaming the system or whatnot, but you can follow the right procedures without like getting yourself stuck.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the keys to it was that, when you're doing claims investigation, whether it's workers' comp or others, you need information about prior medical treatment. Somebody may have had an injury before, or prior employment. They may have had an accident somewhere else before. In some cases, with some attorneys, they were much less inclined to provide that information than others. And so what this does is, if you have that kind of circumstance, the employer can file their dispute. They can use the discovery tools that court process allows. So they can send out subpoenas and get prior medical records and prior employment records, and be sure that somebody didn't have a prior accident, or that they didn't go into the emergency room, 2 weeks before this work accident, right, and decide, I may need to have a work accident because this may be a little more trouble than I thought. So it clarifies that. And always in those cases, you're dealing with the exceptions. Most people are trying to play by the rules, but when you're dealing with those exceptions, you've got to create a process that allows the employers to get that kind of information and be sure they're paying claims appropriately.
Well, yeah, they are the exceptions, not the rule, but every exception is going to be a glaring exception for your workers' comp insurance, because you're inevitably leading to fraud at that point.
Yeah, and that's
so the exception affects everybody.
Yeah, and fraud is not as many stories as you hear about it. It's always the 5 to 10% that are abusing the system. But when you got claims adjusters and lawyers that worry about fraud, even when you have a legitimate claim, those lawyers and those adjusters think, well, I gotta be sure that this guy is not committing fraud and trying to game the system. So fraud is not just hurting the system at large. It's hurting the legitimate claimants whose claims are delayed because you got to jump through extra hoops just to be sure that they are not trying to work the system.
We got about 2 minutes left with Patrick Robinson from Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Patrick, maybe it's only because I've been dialed in for like the last 2 years, but I feel like this whole field, this whole environment is moving quickly. There's been a lot of, has there been an inordinate number of changes in the last few years, or is it just because I'm now paying attention?
I think there has been a lot more attention paid to this system. This last session was really the first time we've gotten some really solid movement in it in a decade or more. There are a few things that need to be looked at. I'm not sure heading into this fourth session of the term that there's a big appetite to do major reforms in workers' comp. I'm not sure at this point it's necessary as we kind of watch these other bills play out. But definitely between talking about it on your show, talking about it with legislators, there has been much more attention paid to it. And I think with the new administration coming in, it's sort of a subset of insurance reform.
No, completely it is. And well, yeah, not even a subset. It is just a set. I mean, there's insurance is insurance, and it's all based off of the same business model to prevent against loss. So we definitely want to be on the forefront, definitely be in communication from start to finish. And if you are a business owner, if you are an HR manager, if you are a risk manager, if you're an insurance representative, an attorney, you name it, you've got a reason to be at this conference. Patrick, one more time, tell them where they can go to sign up.
LABI.org, LABI.org.
LABI.org. Always appreciate the time, man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, sir. Take care.
Right, you do the same. We're at 749 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. I want to remind you about the folks over at Industry Makes. IndustryMakes.org, a unified voice behind the industry that makes everything that keeps the world running. And oh, by the way, employs our friends and neighbors as well. When you talk about business up and down the river, industry up and down the river, there's always a voice that wants to protest. But where are you getting the real scoop from? Visit industrymakes.org. Get yourself the entire ambassador toolkit. Do a little myth busting and learn a heck of a lot more at industrymakes.org. This Day in History is next. Shit. Fully, yeah. You'll get an initial burst, but most of your caffeine doesn't kick in for a while.
Because I'm like Franz, I can fall asleep drinking cups of coffee and go straight to sleep. And I've always wondered that.
Yep.
Well, get us out of this spot first. I have a disc there. They're for you already. You just kind of have to look around. I think it's at the top. Yeah.
Are you ready to help shape the future of education in Baton Rouge? Apply now for Changemakers, a no-cost 10-month leadership program from the Baton Rouge Alliance for Students. Explore local schools through data, discussions, school tours, and even a visit to a peer city to see successful education strategies in action. Build your network and become a voice for excellence.
Oh, crappers. So tired. No.
Ooh, National Fried Chicken Day. Yum. No, to me, yeah.
For nearly 50 years, Gulf Coast Office Products has been Louisiana's trusted leader in office technology, helping businesses in every industry streamline efficiency. As an official partner of the New Orleans Saints and Pelicans, we're committed to delivering top-tier service with flexible leasing options and customized invoicing. With over 100 dedicated employees, we have the expertise to keep your business running smoothly. Call for a free analysis at 225-756-2644. Gulf Coast Office Products, your workforce efficiency lifeline. That crack you've been ignoring? Yeah, everyone can see it. Go ahead and fix it with Advanced Windshield. Local service, advanced calibration, and they deal with your insurance so you don't have to. AdvancedWindshield.com. Now a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. Hey, Brian, this morning, very quiet one, and let's hope that doesn't change. But as we move along, if you're traveling I-10 in from Lafayette, Base and New Bridge, the rest of the way in the Baton Rouge area, I-12 as well, light volume on board and no big problems, at least for the moment. And if you see traffic trouble downtown, 250, keyword Baton Rouge traffic. I'm Ray Romero.
This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement. Batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
This report comes to you from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
Buying or selling a new home? Mid-City Title makes it easy. Mobile closings, expert services, midcitytitle.com.
Essence Fest in the rear view mirror. We're going to talk about it with New Orleans and Company coming up. Just over 10 minutes from right now, with New Orleans Company joining us at 8:05, we move This Day in History up to right now. All right, Wilton, let's go.
Pretty exciting day in history for us this morning. In 1785, U.S. Congress unanimously resolved to name the U.S. currency as the dollar and adopt decimal-based tens counting for the coinage.
Very lovely.
Mm-hmm.
1785.
1785. So a few years after we actually declared independence.
Yeah.
Got along with that. Also on this day in history, in 1885, 100 years in the future from there, we got the anti-rabies vaccine successfully administered to a 9-year-old boy, saving his life.
Yeah.
Also, let me move along here to 1923. The Treaty of the Union was accepted by the Central Executive Committee, turning the Russian Empire into the USSR.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's when they officially became the USSR. 65, Jefferson Airplane formed in San Francisco.
Whoa, okay.
I know. Also, kind of in that psychedelic type of mood, Forrest Gump, the movie, debuted this day in
1994. Yep.
1994.
I had that one.
Going a little bit more, let's see, contemporary. Do you remember whenever everybody was playing Pokemon Go all around that game dropped?
Boy, that was a waste of a year, wasn't
2016.
it? Yeah.
2016 is when that started. I was in high school, so all of my friends were doing that. It was like a big thing.
2016 might go down as the most messed up year in American history.
It was, especially us. We had the big flood.
Yeah.
We had the big flood.
With the big flood, Alfred Sterling got. Wait a minute. I believe that anniversary was yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was July 5th of 2016.
Wow. And we weren't checking because it was the weekend.
Because it was this day in history yesterday. So, man, wow, 10 years ago yesterday. I mean, I remember the protests nonstop.
That was
specifically at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, right there by the police headquarters. They had a protest right outside the building right over here, where they tried to get up and block the interstate. Yeah, but that was yesterday. So keep going.
On to today, we got some celebrity birthdays or famous, historical figure birthdays, however you want to call it. Frida Kahlo, George W. Bush. I know there's a lot of birthdays.
Yeah.
Nancy Reagan, Sylvester Stallone, all sharing a birthday today, along with 50 Cent.
Shreveport's own 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Bought half of Shreveport's downtown, 50 Cent.
I'm excited to see what happens with that development.
Sylvester Stallone is 80. 80. He's 80. My word.
And have you seen him in the Tulsa King show?
So yeah, I've seen clips. I haven't seen Tulsa King because I don't have that particular media outlet. The whatever the.
I think it's on like HBO or Amazon.
It's not on HBO. I have HBO. I think it's on is it Peacock or whatever? Paramount. Whichever one it is, I don't have it.
Yeah, he doesn't quite look 80 in there.
No,
but he looks like he's wearing a lot of makeup in that.
Okay,
show. It's kind of obvious. Yeah. Let me get through a quick couple of famous and notable deaths.
Yep.
Louis Armstrong passed on this day in history. Also, St. Thomas More, school named after him in Baton Rouge,
and a high school in Lafayette. Yes, he was beheaded.
Whew.
Yeah.
Last one, I guess. Robert McNamara, Secretary of Defense during the Vietnam War.
Also, Roy Rogers in 1998, William Faulkner in 1962, and Charlie Daniels in 2020.
All right, just got about 20 seconds left.
National Fried Chicken Day. Okay, post up on Facebook Live who's got the best fried chicken in Baton Rouge. Yup, let's hear about it.
Also, National Air Traffic Controller Day. Well, we have
all right. Well, props to them as well. Hour 3's next. Blue Store.
Yeah, Blue Store.
Blue Store's not bad.
Churches.
No.
Where do you think, Brian?
Delpit's Chicken Shack on Acadian.
ABC News. On Wednesdays, Louisiana State Police. No lie.
I've heard that.
Yes.
I've heard that.
And it's always Wednesdays. You can get baked or fried, but it's fried. I know, Miss Judy. I'm so sleepy. Renee says Carter's Supermarket in Denver.
Really?
What is that?
Best fried chicken in Baton Rouge.
What's NOLA Income?
An interview. It's a company.
It's New Orleans' tourism company. New Orleans and Company. Alice Glenn is the one who's going to be on with us today.
Hey, yes, ma'am. We're in commercial. Give us about 4 minutes, and Brian will pick up on his end. Okay. All right. Thank you. Kevin Ford, Zion Williams.
I don't think I mentioned him.
This is the Bloomberg Money Minute. Apple is sticking with key partner, chip supplier Broadcom, expanding its work with Apple through the next 5 years, and plans to develop products for multiple generations of the tech giant's devices. Broadcom has long lead connectivity components for Apple iPhone. Several other major tech firms, including Google, Alphabet, and Meta, on artificial intelligence systems. Checking on the market, stocks are looking at how games start to be. Genuine Parts announced in February that it was working with and become a pure-play industrial company that's known for its Napa brand. Genuine Parts auto has more than 10,000 locations. 20,000 Bloomberg Radio.
Now, a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
No major accidents or breakdowns on the board. That said, we're continuing to see a bit more volume as we move along, but still in good shape in the traffic I-12 and from Walkland in the spring. Just minimal backup there. Approach with no big problem spot brewing, at least for the time being. You see traffic trouble about pound 250. Keyword about Bruce traffic. All right, well, now AutoZone. Get in the zone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the home of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement. Batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. AutoZone.
This report comes to you from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
Fresh, feel fierce, tops, lasers, typing, and more at Unique Aesthetics and Wellness. Schedule now at myuniqueaesthetics.com.
Talk 107.3 Weather.
A quiet start to your Monday with fair skies and warm temperatures. Expect another summer day with sunshine early, then clouds mixing in with afternoon showers and thunderstorms developing. A few could be strong and produce gusty winds and brief heavy rain. Before any storms develop, expect highs in the 90s and peak index values around 105. summertime temperatures remain. I'm meteorologist Dave Baker with your storm station forecast on WRC Channel 2.
806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Wilton producing. Brie Lynn observing at this point. We've got a busy third hour for you. Like we said, we moved up this day in history to make sure we got the New Orleans and Company. Alice Glenn's going to join us in just a quick second. Also, we talk about everything under the sun with Moon Griffon in our next segment, and then the folks from the BREC Room. We'll have Janet, we'll have Maurice. The folks from the BREC Room will be by to close out the show today. Okay, so without further ado, because there's so much going on, we got Alice Glenn from New Orleans and Company on with us. How are you this morning?
Hey, Brian, I'm doing great. Happy Monday morning to you. Hope you had a great 4th of July weekend.
It was a fantastic 4th of July weekend. And as I understand it, New Orleans saw a great 4th of July weekend as well. Am I hearing that the early numbers on, there we go. Am I hearing that the early numbers on Essence Fest are looking like a little bit of a rebound from last year?
They're looking great. You know, we saw a really strong Friday. Saturday was strong, held its own against last year, and we're still waiting on some final numbers for Sunday. But on the whole, everything that we're hearing from attendees especially was that it was a fantastic weekend. Great talent, great activations at the convention center, and just, a fantastic weekend to be in the city.
Very cool stuff. I get a lot back from social media and whatnot. Can you drop her on hold real quick and see if we can't fix that connection? Drop her on hold and then bring her back. We got Alice Glenn with us from New Orleans and Company. Okay, go ahead and punch her back up again. Sorry, Alice, our connection was kind of rough right there. Want to make sure we're able to hear you.
Sure, is that better?
No, and I think it's on our end. I tell you what, let's do. Breland, get her on hold, get her phone number, call her back from line 2. Because it sounds like line 1 is not going to give us any. All right. We're going to reconnect with Alice right there. My apologies, y'all. That's just a terrible, terrible connection. Didn't want y'all to have to sit through that. But it didn't seem like it was getting any better across the board. While I have a quick minute before we get Alice back on the phone, and we do have a lot of ground to cover. In fact, there's a lot of ground to cover with her for things that are related to today. For example, today is the anniversary of Louis Armstrong's death. Well, Satchmo Summerfest is coming up August 1st and 2nd. Today is National Fried Chicken Day. Fried Chicken Festival coming up in October down in New Orleans. So we'll get to both of those with Alice in just a quick minute. While I do have a second, let me remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com is their website. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website. Founded in 1897 as a community bank. And today, in 2026, they remain a community bank. It's unbelievable the way they've stayed true to their mission. Now they've grown. They've added more communities along the way because they've been successful with what they do. So if you visit landmarkbankla.com, landmarkbankla.com, hit the About Us tab to find their locations to see if there's a Landmark Bank in your community. And by the way, there will be more communities to come, I'm sure, from Landmark Bank. But as they grow in their locations, the service is the exact same as when it started, except on the financial end, on the fintech end, just try back on one then. That's on the technology end, they could do everything that the big boys can do. So don't get yourself lost with what somebody whose headquarters is in Midtown Manhattan. Visit landmarkbankla.com and get yourself a banker, not just a bank, a banker. Landmarkbankla.com. All right, we're looking to reconnect here with Alice Glenn from New Orleans and Company. And my apologies on this, y'all, but you heard it on the way in right there. That just it wasn't able to be fought through. There she is. Okay, now grab her on too. There we go. Gonna have to push Moon back a little bit for sure, just to make sure that Alice gets her full allotment of time. We are now reconnected. Alice, how are you?
Hey,
much better. Yes, so much better and worth the time. And don't worry, we're going to eat up some minutes from my next guest to make sure you get a full allotment right here. Okay, so getting back to Essence Fest, there was some talk last year about how attendance had dipped a little bit, but it looks like we rebounded.
Attendance was stronger. I think Friday night was really strong attendance. Saturday held its own against last year, and we're still waiting on some final numbers from Sunday. But everything we heard from attendees, especially, was fantastic performances in the Dome, great activations, long lines at the convention center for some of the most popular sponsors and other activations. And on the whole, it was a great weekend in New Orleans.
Very, very cool stuff. And it's become, it's a long-standing 4th of July tradition, to be sure. But Essence Fest just continues to turn out.
It's over 30 years in New Orleans at this point. I believe this is year 31. So it is a tradition. It's a destination for folks from around the country and really around the world at this point. And look, from year to year, it looks a little different. It has to, right? It gets boring otherwise. But
right.
I think that the organizers did a really fantastic job of bringing in some fresh ideas, new talent, and just really, plussed it up this year in ways that paid off.
100%. All right, so that's what's in the rearview mirror, and I'm sure we'll have more numbers come in on that. But coming up next, if I'm not mistaken, well, let's start with Tales of the Cocktail if we could, because I love that y'all do this every year.
Tales of the Cocktail is one of the coolest events that happens throughout the year. So this year it's July 19th to the 24th. It's put on by the Tales of the Cocktail Foundation, which is a nonprofit that is supporting the cocktail and spirits industry in a variety of ways. But what I think is really neat about Tales is that, homegrown local organization, but it's really become the preeminent cocktail activation and event of the year around the world.
Mm-hmm.
I've done some traveling promoting New Orleans in the last year or so, and I've gone to places. The only reason that these folks, like bartenders and servers in restaurants around the world, know New Orleans is because they know someone who's won a Tales Award or has been for Tales of the Cocktail. It's really an incredible sort of quietly growing event.
It's hard to describe, to get a grasp for what it actually is without just experiencing it. Because there's a theme, there's a competition, but there's an overall level of participation as well.
That's right. So headquartered at the Ritz-Carlton here in New Orleans, there's 5 days at this point of programming, connections, trainings, tasting, seminars. But then what I think is even more cool about it is all the activations that are happening around the city around it. So pop-up bars with different spirits, world-renowned bartenders and cocktail enthusiasts doing things with food and drinks that really are happening kind of once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has become more and more consumer facing. So folks can just come in for the weekend and you truly never know what you're going to stumble into.
We got Alice Glenn from New Orleans & Company on with us. Speaking of pop-ups, can I rewind the clock back to early June with the Gumball 3000? I am just now seeing on social media Deadmau5 did a pop-up concert from the balcony of the Royal Sonesta.
That's right. That was an absolutely incredible event. I don't know a lot about it. From what I understand, though, these really tricked out cars are driving all the way across the country, and they made a stop in New Orleans. So we closed down Bourbon Street for the night and did essentially a parade of super cool cars driven by celebrities, car enthusiasts, obviously DJs,
right,
and all kinds of folks. It was wild. It was such an incredible time.
Well, and I'm not a big car guy, but I am a big EDM guy. So when I started seeing the videos creep around TikTok and Reels and whatnot, it was an amazing scene.
It really was. Again, once in a lifetime,
right?
Only in New Orleans. Bourbon
I'm
Street.
not normally a FOMO guy, but that one kind of hit me. So I'm sorry to get us off track. I had to bring that up. All right. X Games is coming up later this month. Tell me about it.
All right. X Games, I think top action sports athletes competing here in New Orleans. This is the X Games Championship in the Caesars Superdome, July 24th to 26th. So this is a partnership with a lot of entities around the state to bring X Games here. So best athletes in skateboard, BMX, motocross, 18 events across the 2 days or the 3 days that it's here. They're going to be using the entire Superdome. So from what I understand, competition in sort of the afternoon, early evening hours, and then concerts at night. So like hip hop, Metro Boomin, JID, and then some DJs, some EDM, Subtronics, Bunt. These may be names you know, hopefully, Brian.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a great time in the Dome.
Very cool. And when you say the entire Superdome campus, I think, most of us know where the Saints play. But what else is involved with that?
So there'll be a festival outside in Champion Square, sort of a village, bringing together some of the athletes and just sort of action sports and culture. And then inside the Dome will be some of the competitions and, of course, the concerts. And then also in the Smoothie King Center. So the whole area will be activated for X Games over the July 24th, 25th weekend.
Busy July. A couple of two more I want to touch on before we get you out of here. The Pastry World Cup.
That's right. So same weekend. When I tell you, I think if you're thinking about planning a trip to New Orleans anytime soon, sometime in July 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, like this is the weekend to come, right? Mm-hmm. So the Bocuse d'Or and Pastry World Cup America's competitions. This is essentially like the semifinals for the Olympics of world cuisine. So teams from North and South America will be here in New Orleans. This is in the convention center, competing to go on to the finals, which are in Lyon, France, next year. And this is, when I tell you so the Pastry World Cup specifically, they're competing in sugar, in chocolate, and in ice sculpture. These look like sculptures you would buy and put in your home or in a museum. Mm-hmm. Just like absolutely incredible level of talent. It's beautiful. And then on the Bocuse d'Or, which is the culinary, like the savory food side, if you will, right. Same level of talent and execution, but you can actually see, and a few lucky folks are even going to get to taste some of the finalist dishes. So it's going to be a really cool weekend in the convention center. Then you can pop over to the Dome, see some X Games. So much going on.
So I had to look it up, and it's named after famous French chef, legendary French chef Paul Bocuse. Of course, d'or meaning golden, right? So it's the Bocuse Gold is what you get with that, and the photos themselves. Just the photos look amazing and legendary on social media. So definitely looking forward to that one as well. Very, very quickly, and I'm only bringing them up because of today's date in history, okay? You've also got today's National Fried Chicken Day. Fried Chicken Fest is coming up this fall. Also, today is the day, on this day in 1971, Louis Armstrong passed, so you've got Satchmo Summerfest coming up as well. I only bring those days, up because of today in history, but for those unfamiliar with Satchmo Summerfest, give us a lowdown.
Satchmo Summerfest is a fantastic time. So August 1st and 2nd, it's at the New Orleans Jazz Museum down in the French Quarter. Mm-hmm. It's a free 2-day festival, as you said, celebrates the legacy and the music of Louis Armstrong, live music across multiple stages, most of which, really importantly, because it's August, are indoors in the Jazz Museum, so AC, Kermit Ruffins, John Boutte, the original Peanuts Brass Band. Like, I could go on and on and on. It's a really fun, kind of under the radar festival in an area of the French Quarter that I think is worth a visit if you haven't been lately. We have the new beautiful Woldring-Goldenberg Riverfront Park on the river, like spectacular new green space there on the river, some fantastic new restaurants. And August 1st is also the start of Culinary, which is where so many restaurants around town are doing discounted prefix menus. So another great weekend to be. And then, as you said, Fried Chicken Fest tickets go on sale because it's National Fried Chicken Day. But the festival itself, October 2 through 4.
Yep, and we'll have plenty of time to preview that one as we get closer to it. In the meanwhile, she's Alice Glenn. I apologize again for the poor connection to start off with, but we were able to power through it. Alice, thank you so much for the time.
Thanks so much, Brian. Always great to be with you.
Likewise. See, next time we have to go through the best fried chicken in New Orleans, because best fried chicken in Baton Rouge, we were talking about. Well, actually, that was a Facebook Live conversation, not on the air conversation. All right, we're overdue for a break. Moon Griffon's next. Ow. I missed again.
Yeah, that one time you threw it at my leg.
I didn't throw it at your leg. It bounced off you. You missed too. You're right there.
What we gonna do with us? So I have a foster cat, right? I promise I'm not sick. And she slept right here. So, and I'm allergic to cats, and I have two, but I'm used to them after all these years. Well, I'm not used to her.
Welcome calling from Talk 1073 studio.
Hey, man.
All right, sounds good. We'll throw you down on hold then.
Yeah, she slept on my pillow, right on my face, all week on Sunday. She's so sweet, though. But I can't have three cats. Ain't no way.
All right.
Also here for a second opinion to help guide you and possibly eliminate the need for any redo or revision surgery. Clearly, it's less costly, less time-consuming, and with considerably less risk to have your treatment designed and performed correctly the first time at Fusion Implants. Call us for your consultation today, and let us show you why our technology and expertise is superior. We are the only team of specialists in Louisiana that do what we do. So don't put this off any longer. Or visit FusionImplantCenter.com.
Oh, man.
One day at Fusion Implant Center can change your life forever.
Now check on your drive from the Talk 1073 Traffic Center.
This is going to be a short segment. We ran super long with Alice.
Keep an eye on it and be ready to key. It's hard to
823. 823, Talk 1073. 823, Talk 1073 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We ran long with Alice Glenn from New Orleans and Company, so let's get right to him. Moon Griffon's on with us. How are you, brother?
Brian, doing great, man. Had a good 4th of July. My wife planned something for 4 straight evenings.
Oh.
And look, and in between me going visit people, of course, family coming over, I got to cut the grass and weed eat and sweat and almost caught a cold. But other than that, I'm doing good.
I was really expecting
fishing,
4
brother.
days of fishing.
No, it was not a day on the water. She kind of had us boxed in with all kind of stuff, and I did, Brian. It was all fun.
Unbelievable. 4 straight days and no fishing for Moon Griffon. That might be a record for a holiday weekend.
Oh, it is a record. I told her for Labor Day I get to do all the scheduling.
Yeah, to be sure. Obviously, our top topic today, and I apologize for being late here, and we're going to have a shorter segment. But top topic today is going to be Liz Murrill indicted and then that indictment stayed. What was your initial reaction and then evolving reaction?
Yeah, and I'll tell you who my guest is going to be at the beginning of the program, but no,
I have a feeling I know.
Yeah, it was disappointment because I know New Orleans is running some problems, and I really believe out of what I read and what I've seen and when I talked to people, she didn't do anything. It wasn't a big threat. The state of Louisiana, according to the Constitution, has a right to go and look at cities and how they run and stuff. And when I think of criminal threat, Brian, I think it'd be like me telling you I'm gonna come whip you or shoot you or something like that. And that's not what was done. And So the Supreme Court did the stay, and we got to wait and see what they do. But indictment is a serious deal. I mean, you got a grand jury, but they always tell me they can indict a Coca-Cola bottle if they want. So I have Laura Rodriguez, who, by the way, is on my program. She's a former state prosecutor.
Yeah.
Liz actually hired her as a lawyer. So she called me yesterday. We talked a little bit, and so I did get her to come on the program from 9 to 9:30. So that's going to be interesting. I'm going to let her fill in, quote, this side of the story.
Yeah, so Laura's name is actually on the document from the Supreme Court with the stay in it. So could not get a better source, could not get closer to the situation than by having Laura Rodriguez on. I was hoping you were going to say that. I was thinking you were going to say that. I'm glad you confirmed it. So stick around after this show for sure.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't think she would come, and then it got approved, so she's coming. The other thing, Brian, real quick, and this is kind of a self deal. I did. Friday was my 8,500 shows at talk show host.
Really?
And
wow.
Yeah. And so what I did was I kind of went back. Now, Brian, you know, you can check Wikipedia and everything, but I only found about 3 people that ever got to 10,000. And 10,000, and I looked at it and said, well, 10,000, that's going to be, I can get to 10,000. Well, I need 6 more years to get to 10,000. So I'm going to 10,000, Brian. 10,000 shows.
I think you can get there. I think you can. That's not unattainable. I mean, that's the countdown is on.
Yeah. Well, it's like everything else. We got to be able to put out a product. You got to be able to sell it. You know how all that goes. All that still got to work out. Hey, Brian, the other thing is the registered Republicans now have moved ahead of the Democrats. The number I got from Nancy last week was about 2,600. I think it's going to continue to grow.
Yeah.
My question is this, though, and I had Derek Babcock on, and you probably had him on before.
I did. I had him on the day after you did because you spoiled my breaking news.
Well, I didn't mean to do that. But listen, my question is only one, and I don't want nobody to get mad at me. But what does it do? What does that mean for policy? I mean, is that going to change anything? And that's my big question.
I don't think policy for policy, session for session, HB or SB for, any bill in particular, I don't think it does, but it's an overall moving of the needle that it's you don't turn a tanker on a dime. You don't turn a ship around on a dime. So I think this is part of that ever slow turning of a big ship.
But it's part of it. People go run to be Republicans because it's popular. And that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So
I see where you're going. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to see a movement that Brian Haldane can go, wow, they did that. It took them a long time. Now look. And some of it's happening under the governor for some of the stuff they're doing with jobs and businesses and stuff like that. But I just hope this is a move that when people look up, they go, wow, it took 40 or 50 years, but look where they're at and look where they're headed at. I guess I want to see results. I like to see results.
So, okay, I would posit it like this though, Moon. I would say look at it through this lens. We might not move as far to the right as you want, but we're definitely not moving to the left.
Oh no,
you know what I'm saying? Like the identity politics of the left is pushing people away just as much as, or if not more so, than what we're actually pitching on the right. So
yeah, you're not left center of anything right now. You're right center, and I would say most people are probably right center. So you're right. I'm a bit conservative. I'm gonna want more, but I think sometimes you got to pull really far to get some of the stuff you want, and maybe that's what we'll see.
Yes, but at the same time, though, remember when it comes to conservatism, you don't want to be dramatic about it. Like you don't want the pendulum to swing too far in one direction because it is, in fact, a pendulum.
Yeah. Well, I just think that on the major issues, and we've seen a lot of major issues, I want us to be as conservative as we can. There's always going to be some things you got to go back and forth on. I get it, especially when it comes to money.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. In the meanwhile, I'll take the numbers. I mean, they confirm what we already knew, but I'll take them just to make them official for sure.
Oh, no, it's a big number, and I'm glad you had Derek on there. I kind of squeezed him in. I really didn't know he was going to come talk about that. I was going to talk about other things.
Yeah.
And then that came up. But when I talked to him, it was barely over. But I think it's thousands of votes over now.
All right. What time's Laura coming on the show?
Laura, 9:06 to 9:30.
Right out the block. She'll catch Moon 9 to noon right here. Always appreciate the time, brother. We'll talk to you next week.
All right.
All right.
All right, Brian. God bless. Thanks, brother.
Likewise. Absolutely. Laura Rodri going to be coming your way at 9:06. Just heads up to start the show. That is going to be an awesome couple of segments because, Moon's going to get 2 segments out of her. He always does. Here's news. That's probably a guest for BREC coming on.
That's Corey. Talking to 7-3. Sure are. Corey, do you know who this is? Yes, this is Brittany. How are you, friend? Oh gosh, I miss BREC. Y'all, I miss the zoo. I miss y'all to death. But life is good. It's good to have one job, Now, granted, I still work the longest hours, but I have one job. Like I did, so I get to go. I don't have to stress, working multiple anymore. That's the good thing. But I love it. How are you? Have a good one.
Morning. You ready?
Well, that's good. So you met him. You got to sit down with him many a times now. Oh, okay.
Not quite 5.
So, Brittany, are you leaving?
Going on vacation.
Going on vacation. Oh, that's good. That's good, Corey.
Wilton.
Oh. Well, I'm so glad. I need to come by and visit y'all. I keep saying
So
that.
what is Wilton's plans? What are his plans? What are Wilton's plans?
I have no idea.
I mean,
to hold it down while Braylon's going.
What is he going to be doing? Some other stuff for y'all?
Oh, for guarantee, for sure, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you're with oh Lord, I know exactly where you are. You're with all the HR crew. Yeah.
Oh, come on. It's not coming
I'll
up.
come in. I'll come say hi. Okay. Well, look, Corey, I'm gonna drop you on hold. It's probably I'm gonna warn you. It's probably gonna be about 5 minutes. Okay, but just hang out. Okay. Okay. It's like catching up with an old friend, y'all. How are y'all? No, I'm
Good.
on the beach this week.
Okay,
So
nice.
filling in.
Great. What beach?
Miramar.
I love that's
We got
beautiful.
Hilton Sandestin
Mhm.
Hotel, that resort. We
Mhm.
use Hilton Honors for my husband's business,
Mhm.
and we have all these points.
Oh, nice.
It's I like Miramar because it's not as crowded.
Mhm.
Sandestin
It's
or,
beautiful.
like everybody, it's
Mhm.
on the same strip, but
Mhm.
it's not
Mhm.
the beach ain't crowded.
Right. Yep.
I love it, y'all. And the babies every year they call it Sunny Florida, and they know the resort now. So
Mhm.
like I watch them. Don't get me wrong, but like if they need to go off to the bathroom, they know where to go.
Right. That's great. Yep.
This report comes to you from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. Brian Haldane here. Good for calling. This is the BREC Room, a weekly conversation centered around the joys of the outdoors through a variety of experiences. Now taking you through today's particular topics. Here's Brian Haldane.
It is time to dive back into the BREC Room once again. We do this every Monday. It's been unbelievably informative and beneficial thus far, and will continue to be so. We've got Janet Simmons. We got Maurice Velasquez. Welcome back in. How y'all doing today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I trust a great 4th of July had by all.
Oh yeah, it was
Very
great
and
weekend.
yesterday very wet.
Yeah, I know. It's I could not have been like more made to order though, and it's like the neighbors that like to fire off fireworks the night after.
Right.
Yeah. No. Washout, rain out for y'all.
Yeah.
Take that. We've had another week since the election.
Yep.
Another week for things to sink in. But I think it's important to have reminders of what went down at the polls and why and where that money's going. So if you wouldn't mind, just kind of recap for us what we've actually voted for.
So first of all, let me just tell everybody from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for voting for this tax. That's one of the things that we're not allowed to do. We're not allowed to go out and campaign, but we can tell people to vote, and they did come out and they showed up at the polls. So really, I really appreciate the support that we got. And the reason I believe is because we've showed that we're working diligently to be financially and fiscally sound, making sure that our programming is excellent. We've got 6,200 campers right now. And if you think about that, that takes an enormous amount of work. Oh, no. Our recreation department does an incredible job putting together programming for the kids that really meet every single child's needs.
Right.
Whether they're adaptive, whether they have special needs, whether they are artsy, theater type people, or outdoorsy, whether they like to do things, that are creative with their hands. There's so much there, and it's just so full for the parents to be able to know that their kids are in good hands.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's part of what the BREC tax pays for, is a portion of those programs. Also, the operations and the maintenance of all of our parks. And as you know, and we're looking to reduce the number of parks that we have, because we do have a lot of parks per capita, but we are maintaining the parks, making sure that the grass gets mowed. And with all this rain that we've been having, oh my gosh, I mean, sometimes we're out there 2 or 3 times a week, depending on what kind of a park it is.
Yeah.
If you're playing ball, you can't have high grass,
right?
So it's just making sure that we are doing a great job of keeping our parks up.
Yeah. So while we have a very large footprint of parks and we're trying to reduce that, we still have to mow the lawn.
Well, of course.
And so this tax is specifically for that. It's to take care of the parks.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and all the work that we've done, for example, on the Scotlandville Trail, now called the Melvin Kip Holden Parkway, all of the work that we did, all of that work was paid for by that tax.
Right.
All of the cleanup that we did along that parkway, the 6 miles or however many miles we have that's running through that parkway. And then all of the work that we've done in Baker lately, in Zachary, in Baton Rouge, and St. George. I mean, it's all over the parish. And it's an enormous amount of work. So I really hyped up the recreation department, but let's look at park ops, because they're an incredible group of people. These are guys that go out in the morning, sometimes at 5:30 in the morning, to start mowing grass. And they're out there in the heat, in the horrible humidity. We have to maintain their hydration, making sure that they're safe, all of those things. And just to appreciate them being out there. And I would ask all of our park patrons to recognize that and tell them thank you, because they're the ones that keep it going.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. This is the BREC Room. We're talking with Janet Simmons and Maurice Velasquez, as we do every Monday. And one of the things I like to say about BREC is y'all have to be all things, all people. I mean, there's so many different entities that have a specialization, and y'all have to just spread it across the board. So you mentioned campers on the one end, and we do. There's a natural focus on taking care of the kids in town for sure. But y'all have so many programs for adults, for seniors. Walk us through a little bit about what we might not hear about on a day-to-day basis.
So this is kind of a fun thing for seniors. Every Tuesday, and I believe it's Wednesday, we have a tea dance, one here in Baton Rouge and one up in Central.
Okay.
And this is for senior citizens that love to just get out and move. And so they go up to the rec centers, and the one in Baton Rouge is actually at the headquarters in the ballroom. And we have a live band, and we serve lunch, and they pay, I think, $5 for lunch. And they get to just come and be together and interact with each other. So it's a great time for seniors to be able to work together. And then in some of our other parks, we offer different programming. So they can do arts and crafts, they can do sewing, they can do quilting, they can play games, just be together. And then in a lot of our centers, we have the Council on Aging. And so they actually lease space, and they provide programming in some of those recreational spaces as well.
There's an exercise class at Independence Park
And
every
there's
morning.
and there's
8
an
o'clock,
exercise class
8:30.
over in South Baton Rouge. So it's
Mhm.
a lot. There's a lot. And yoga,
Oh, wow.
we just celebrated yoga, International Yoga Day with the goat yoga that we had, and that was a great success at Independence Park. So yeah, lots of fun.
This month is National Parks and Recreation Month. Locally, what have we got going on for that?
Well, that's an interesting question because we always have a lot going on. So the National Parks and Recreation Month is just a way that we can celebrate the power of parks. And parks is where people celebrate being together in our community, celebrates being together.
Which is really just an example of everything we just talked about. When you mentioned the campers, on top of everything else with the camps, kids are with kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not sitting on the sofa playing Xbox all summer long. They are connecting with other kids.
Right.
And by the way, learning from the camp counselors, who are pretty great role models to begin with. The same thing you just mentioned with the seniors, the connections all over the place.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then if you look at like yesterday in Highland, before the rain, we had the celebration St. George did for the 250th anniversary. So even though it was the 5th of July, it still was a big celebration. So just being able to do that. And then another thing that we are doing, as we've talked about over time, is really increasing the opportunities for play for kids.
Right.
And that's so important. And I've heard so many people talk about growing up in the parks and being able to, which back in the day, in the 70s, 80s, parents were more free to let their kids just go and walk to the neighborhood park. And I was listening to one of our park patrons who grew up in the park system, especially over near Terra and in that community, or actually in like where St. Thomas More is, in that area, Old Goodwood.
Mm-hmm.
And he just walked to the parks, and BREC had high school kids offering programs all day long at the parks. And so mom would pack a lunch for you, and you would just go to the park and have peanut butter jelly sandwich and just play all day long at the park.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very, very
so
cool.
We're trying to bring back some of that opportunities for kids. So we offer public spaces for everybody to congregate and be able to gather. And so if you want to have a picnic or a family reunion or, a party of some kind, celebration, annual celebration of high school, reunions, those kinds of things, those all happen in our parks.
Very cool stuff. We got a guest coming up in just a quick minute. We'll get to Corey Luttrell. Is the director of HR over at BREC. He's our special guest on the hotline. We'll get to Corey in just a quick second. I do want to mention something that's coming up later this month before we get there, though. Tell me about the Indie Film Festival.
This is a really good program. It's have you ever been to a film festival anywhere else?
I've been to some downtown. Yeah,
it's a typical film festival in which artists put together their work, their movies, their documentaries, their podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really good opportunity for young and old creators to come and showcase their work. Like most film festivals, they're great opportunities for people to showcase their talent, and a lot of them really get recognized locally, regionally, nationally. So this is a really good opportunity. It's coming up on July the 25th at the Independence Park Theater. It's a really great program.
Very, very cool stuff. So Independence Park Theater, July 25th, and yeah, this is just local creators. When you talk about local creators, we're underrated here locally.
Very much so.
We have a number of great filmmakers in our own backyard. Not just, when you think film, you think of what you see when you go to the movies, but I'm talking about like shorts, documentaries,
right?
Everything that falls.
Categories.
Absolutely. A lot of different categories that they can hit. So that's going to be coming
who
up.
Would have thought that was going to be in your parks?
Right. Well, so again, all things to all people, right?
It's
that.
amazing.
But you have the facilities at Independence to get that done. So that works well. 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on July 25th, and that's when that one is. All right, let's we're going to pause with Janet and Maurice for just a second because I want to welcome Corey Luttrell on with us. He's the director of HR. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
No, glad to have you on here. Let's talk a little bit about what you've got going on in HR, because I know that let's start with recruiting efforts. How's the hunt?
I feel like we're always on the hunt to some degree. We currently have about 33 jobs out there, ranging from administrative park operations, animal care at the zoo, working with horses, natural resource management, tennis, golf, you name it. I've got a couple positions myself that we're looking for. It is our busy season as far as we've got camps, we've got a lot of lawn sumo, as y'all were saying earlier. So yeah, we are currently on the hunt, but it's always good to be looking for talent and adding people to the team.
So talk to me a little bit about that, because while it is the busy season, it is also seasonal. So I would imagine you're trying to stay at least one season ahead, huh?
Generally speaking, yes. We do have to kind of forecast and plan. So, there's a ramp up that happens earlier in the year. We actually start recruiting for a lot of our summer labor in January, March timeframe. We try to get ahead of it, in that way. Same thing though, as we look forward down the road, there are things that happen in each season, and we need to be ahead. For football season, we need all the parks to be looking pristine as well.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's that's if practice is going to go on, those parks definitely need to be taken care of for sure. And another part of this is not just those that are on their way in, but those that are on their way out career wise. Talk to me a little bit about some of the retirement trends.
So, with regard to retirement, we have been, we've got a lot of long-term employees here, 20, 30-year employees. And we've known that's been coming. We've been working on succession planning, but really more gathering institutional knowledge to make the succession planning easier. Of course, we have a defined benefit retirement plan. We've been looking at that this year. Those long-term employees are definitely beneficiaries of that, and we love that plan. But we have a lot of new employees that, the current labor market, they just don't stay places. 3 to 5 years is kind of the upper end of that. So we're just kind of looking at all facets there to try to do what we can to retain employees as long as possible, recognize the labor trends in the market, and then do things to prepare us so that even with some level of attrition, we're able to properly make sure that BREC runs as efficiently and effectively as possible.
What kind of attrition are we talking about right there? Like what's your normal turnover rate? Because when you have so many different varied positions like that,
Yeah. Well, so, like if you look at like the truest count of our turnover rate, we have a lot of seasonal staff. So we're going to turn over at a pretty high rate, but it's actually not as bad as one would think. We're probably in the neighborhood of 40% overall. This year, or the last 12 months, I think we're running around 24% for full-time staff, which is, those are the ones we're trying to keep as long as possible. We expect some level of turnover in part-time, and of course, seasonal is limited duration, but we do see a lot of those seasonal employees come back, every season. There's a lot of camp counselors, a lot of extra help during the summer with park ops, that kind of thing.
I would imagine that when you have the seasonal employees specifically, it makes the number feel bigger than it actually is, because they're going to be coming back the next time that season pops around.
Right.
Last one before we get you out of here, I've got about 30 seconds left with Corey Luttrell. For those that might be on the lookout for a job, where do they need to go?
BREC.org/careers. You can go on there. We've actually even got an applicant guide. So if it feels a little complex, you can click that guide and it'll give you some good direction on how you can get in and apply. BREC.org/careers. He's Corey Luttrell, heads up HR for BREC. Always appreciate the time, man. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you. All right. Have a good one.
You too. We are coming up on 8:49 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP, which means we're going to take a quick break. We will check traffic. We will check your money now. We will have... I just killed my clock. Give me how long do we have? Okay. Quick break, coming back.
Corey is our voice of all of our.
Are we off?
Yeah.
Oh, kill all the mics. He just 8:52. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along with the BREC Room coming your way, as we do every Monday. Janet Simmons, Maurice Velasquez in with us. Bring us up to speed on everything going on at BREC. Okay. Gonna get way out of my depth for sure here.
So we're talking about Far Park.
Oh, we're talking about a Far Park. We're talking about
I just want to remind you, when we first got to BREC, Far Park was in shambles.
Yeah.
I mean, it was on the first day at work, I went and saw it and I went, oh my gosh, we've got 40 plus horses. We've got so much going on here and we're not doing our job. So we just got on it.
Which, by the way, underutilized. So if you want to really take a walk back through time,
sure.
Before I worked in radio, I worked in hotels.
Okay.
Far Park was a draw for people bringing their horses in from out of town.
I know.
Like a revenue driver to where like we had a discounted Far Park rate at our hotel because there were that many people who came through town going out there. So our equestrian center has had the potential in the past, and the fact that there's a concerted effort to bring it back to that is definitely worth noting.
It's been turned around. Yeah, it's been turned around.
So Dr. Dina Duplantis is our new, she's a veterinarian. She's an equestrian veterinarian, equine veterinarian, and she's done an incredible job of turning it around. We had her on the radio show too, but we've got our Clip Clop Horse Show series coming back, and that is on August 8th, October the 3rd, and December 5th. And there's an opportunity for people to come and actually learn the different types of categories of horse riding. So you have English, you have hunter and Western classes, plus series of high point awards that they're going to earn, be able to do that. So it's really cool for anybody, all ages, to be able to learn how to ride horses, and it can be all levels. So you can be a beginner or an intermediate, or you can be a level that's an excellent horseback rider. Now, I know nothing about horseback riding.
You're just killing all my follow-up questions because I've got so many.
Okay, well, ask. I'll try to.
Okay, what's the difference?
I learned how to actually wrangle a horse and put it back in its stall.
Really?
I did. That.
Okay. We had a rodeo come to town not long ago. I learned how to rope a horse.
I was told
I didn't have to wrestle it, though.
Treat him like a dog.
Treat him like a dog? Okay.
So I did.
Okay.
I said, I'm going to be controlling you.
Very, very cool stuff. So what's the difference in riding between, English, English, hunter, and Western?
That's a great question. We need to get Dr. Dina Duplantis back
I guess we need to get her back on.
I have no clue.
Well, because, English just sounds more refined.
Plead to Dina.
Yeah.
Plead to Dina.
Versus Western, which sounds a lot more like, John Wayne-ish.
Right,
yep.
right.
So I don't know if John Wayne-ish is a term, but we may have just coined a term right here. John Wayne-ish. So you're going to have
or Clint Eastwood.
Also viable right there. But this is one of those ones where, like you said, there's different levels. So it doesn't matter your age. If this is something you've had a hankering for, give it a try.
Right. Absolutely. And it's
very,
an opportunity
very cool.
for people that don't have the, pasture land and whatever, but still love horses. It's an opportunity for them to take advantage of that. And we also, I don't know if you knew this or not, but Greenville Springs, the arena out there, we manage that arena.
Didn't know we had an arena.
Yes,
much less that y'all managed it.
We have an arena out in Greenville Springs.
Yes, I've known Far Park. Been a fan of Far Park. Right. I did not know about Greenville Springs for sure.
They just had a top put on the arena, so it looks great.
Okay.
And at Greenville Springs, so it's going to be used a lot more now that there's a cover over it.
Back to revamping Far Park. What does a revamp like that look like?
Well, first of all, we had to make sure all the horses were taken care of. That was the primary first thing.
Medical.
So with Dina being a veterinarian and an equine veterinarian, she was able to diagnose anything. We have a lot of elderly horses.
Okay.
And so she has the experience in being able to take care of them. So getting those horses back into making sure that they're eating properly, making sure that all the medication that they have, and it's amazing how much horses eat if you think about it.
Oh, I would imagine
they eat a lot. And so we have pasture land that they can go out and graze, but we also have to feed them feed. And so making sure that they're taken care of, making sure that their stalls are cleaned up, making sure that they have time to walk and get out in the field and walk around, making sure that they have exercise, and then making sure that they're suitable for riding, because some of the horses that are older, really, they're not,
right.
It's not a good thing for them to be riding. And then they also have their own ailments too. They might have problems with their legs and their feet. And so it's just a matter of taking care of the horses. That was the first thing. And then making sure that we took care of the property. So Far Park is not only horse stables, but it's also has an
RV camp.
RV camp.
Right.
And if you didn't notice, at LSU, they're building new dorms in the old RV locations, some of the ones that are really close to the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of those folks that normally have their campers in that area are having to relocate. And so Far Park is an area that you can go to have your camper at LSU.
So I have to ask this as a
LSU
now experienced RVer.
Mm-hmm.
Had my one trip last year. But when you talk about RV slots, you're talking the full-on hookups, sewer, like the whole plug in for the electrical, the water, and all
we
that.
have bathrooms and everything.
Oh, how cool!
Bathrooms and showers, and there are a lot of people that come out there during the football weekends.
It gets filled up.
They'll get there on Wednesdays.
Oh, I would imagine. Yeah,
they'll get there on Wednesdays, and then Thursday, Friday, they just celebrate. I mean, they all know each other, and so it's a great time together of being able to tailgate and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last thing is we're looking to partner. We haven't gotten it solidified, but we're looking to partner with LSU on getting them to come by from LaBerge. They have a tram that goes to LaBerge.
Yeah.
Come by and pick up
Make a stop
at Far Park to bring them to the game.
Okay.
So
gotta love it. We got about 30 seconds before we get out. Next week's one more meeting, right? For City Brooks, next week is the next meeting.
Yeah. Yes. July 14th.
We've got, but we've got Monday, right? We've got radio on Monday,
right?
Brooks Williams is going to be on next week.
That's why I wanted to tee it up now because
he will be coming in on next week, and we're looking forward to hearing from him.
The new superintendent Brooks Williams going to be by, and we'll be able to preview what's to come from there. Kind of talk to the new fellow on the block.
Yep.
And in the meanwhile, Janet Simmons, Maurice Velasquez, we always appreciate the time. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
All right, stick around. Moon Griffon's up next. You already know he's going to be talking AG Liz Murrill and her indictment that wasn't. That's coming up next. We'll see y'all tomorrow.